Hello, everybody. Welcome to Frame Trap. I am your host, Brad Ellis. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Michael Damiani.
How's it going?
And our guest this episode, Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
It feels good to be back. I feel like it's been a while since I've been in this seat. I don't know from Frame Trap, but it hasn't been, but it just feels like...
Oh, well, a lot of stuff has
it
happened.
hasn't.
That's probably why.
I guess a lot of news has
We
happened
had a pretty busy
recently.
week last week. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a ton of stuff to talk about. I've been very busy with games. Everyone's been super busy playing stuff. So we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. Before we do, if you like what we do, check us out on patreon.com/easyallies. That's how we're supported the most, definitely. It's the lifeblood of this company for sure. Also, if you enjoy the show, leave us good ratings on, what are your podcasts, whatever you listen to. Thumbs up, your stars, whatever. We'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Also, check out our merch store. We got merch up there.
Yeah.
I never talk about this. I always forget about it.
We got this shirt right here.
Mysterious Monster shirt. Yeah, check that shit out.
Check that out.
Got some good stuff.
All the monsters on the back.
That's right. Let's just get right into it. I've been playing this game, and I've been waiting for this a while. I did a preview event for it last year. The game is Wild Hearts.
Yes.
So this is a Monster Hunter. It's a hunting. I guess that's the genre.
They call it a hunting game.
A hunting game is the hunting genre. I believe this is with Koei Tecmo and
EA.
EA of all people. Yeah, they're kind of branching out more.
Well-known groups that work together a lot in the past, right?
That's why I think this is so interesting. I mean, they did, you think about all those Joseph Ferris games, they work with them on stuff like that, but it's like they're just starting to do other games. I think that's really cool. But this is a hunting game where you're out in zones, very much like Monster Hunter, and you're killing dudes, and it's a good time. It's a real good time.
Yeah, it looked really cool in all the trailers. When you came back after playing it, you were pretty pretty
positive on it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very curious. The thing I'm most curious about is its unique things it does differently from Monster Hunter.
The katakuri.
I want to know how that feels now that you've spent more time with it, because it's like this. I think that's the biggest question in everyone's mind.
Yeah, the katakuri is definitely one of the most unique things in the game. So katakuri are essentially like these. You can build these devices. It starts off very basic. Like the very beginning, you start with cubes. You can just put cubes, but you can run up these cubes to help you climb stuff, or you can run up the cubes to do a jump attack. But then later on, they get more complex as you start adding things. Like recently, I've been able to combine certain things. Remind me of Damian. Whenever I build stuff, reminds me of Ninja in Final Fantasy 14.
Okay.
Where you have 4 parts or whatever, and you just put them in different order. Like I'm doing the signs.
Okay.
That's what it reminds me of. And you build something. So if you do, there's a spring is something you get really early too. If you jump on a spring, it'll shoot you, and you can dodge out of the way or do an attack. But if you do 3 springs together, it makes a giant hammer, a giant mallet, and it smacks the monsters. And on some of the monsters, there's this one monster that makes a tower out of water. He shoots water and a rock tower appears. And he gets on top of it. And if you make the hammer while he's up there, and he'll hit him off, and he'll get stunned for a while.
Oh, nice.
So a lot about it is building certain katakuri for certain monsters. There's a flying monster, a flying crow guy. You could build a firework. You can build fireworks and shoot fireworks up in the sky, and they'll blind them, they'll fall over and stuff like that. So using those in combat's super fun. There is you have a limited number of supplies to make them. So
I was gonna ask, how do you do this?
You can get this back a couple ways. There's some resources in the environment you can get, you can chop a tree or whatever, or there's a rock you can hit to break stuff. But you also have this little robot pal around with you that you find early in the game. He's like your palico almost.
Okay.
He can leave some of the the currency you need to use this on the field every now and then, because you can upgrade him to do better stats and stuff like that. So I've been upgrading mine so I can carry more of the resources needed to make katakuri, and he'll dump them on the floor more often.
All right, so they kind of want to make sure even if you run out, there's a way to
you can get,
wait long enough.
It's very rare. I'm completely dry for a long time.
Now, do you have to learn blueprints to make different ones, or how? Yeah, are they just all available?
For a lot of the earlier ones, it was just they would teach you as you're fighting a monster. It would just unlock it for you. So one of the very early monsters is a giant boar. Okay. Then there's this part where he's charging. Then the game kind of slows down, and it's hey, push these buttons. Then you put up 4 blocks, and it makes a huge wall, and the guy runs and charges the wall and goes flying off and bounces. So that's how they teach you a lot about the new ones. But there's like a talent tree you have of these katakuri. You can like go down this tree and you could pick what stuff you want to unlock.
Okay.
By killing monsters and stuff, you get that currency to be able to unlock stuff.
So everything is fixed. There's no like trial and error or
Right.
let me mix and
You
match
can't
some
just make some
boxes
weird
and
kind
see
of
what
thing.
happens.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's not like
all
that.
described.
The
Okay,
blueprints
cool.
are there.
Okay.
You can see it in the menu what the combinations are if you ever forget to.
That's cool.
But also some of them you could only get made under certain circumstances, like unlock them. So I had to have like these 2 specific types equipped and fight this specific monster for a chance for it to happen. It's only
Gotcha.
happened like once or twice, I think, though.
Okay.
So it's not too much, but it encourages you to step outside your box, kind of.
All right. How long does it take to make them in
Super quick.
So it's really quick.
really
like
quick.
You know, the's no like
No, it's
tension
not-
where
no.
you're like it's slowly building up.
It depends how
or,
big the thing. Like if you're
Yeah.
trying to put down like 6 like huge ones, you could do it really fast though. But it's just like you got to get like fast at it.
Okay.
And like you don't want to move or anything like that when you're doing it because it'll mess up the build. So
But this is multiplayer too. So have you
Yes.
seen anything like playing with anybody else where like it's good to use like a combination of them? Like
Sure,
one person
like-
use one thing and somebody use
yeah,
somebody
so
else?
like the multiplayer I've done, it's like I see someone what they're doing. I'll throw down a katakuri that makes like a healing fountain or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'll keep the support up so people get some little health.
Yeah.
I'll focus more on that. Or if I see a hunter using a very specific type of thing, I'll do something to complement it. Like they're gonna be building like blocks or a lot like that. So I was like, okay, well I'll put some springs down so we have a little more dodge. But like these things get taken out also by the monsters, so you're constantly rebuilding and picking stuff up and doing that kind of thing. But you're free to do what you want anytime you want in the fight, like with your katakuri. But yeah, there's also multiple weapon types. I think there's 8, I believe there is. I haven't messed with all of them yet, but
yeah, what are you rocking?
the main thing I'm rocking is like it's the starter weapon. It's a katana that has like a basic move set, or has like a normal attack, then like a triangle attack, a heavier one, and like your R2 is like a dash one. But you can combine these in different orders for combos and stuff like that. But this weapon has a meter that builds up from you doing damage, and once you do this meter, you bust out the meter, it becomes like a whip katana almost. Like the
Right.
sword becomes like a
Oh.
whip.
Yeah.
So you can like do like crazy huge damage in that window. And it's just fun mixing together all the different combos to do different style attacks. I also used like a greatsword. It's like essentially the Monster Hunter greatsword. You like charge it up, you know? You're like
Yeah.
boom, boom. But when you're doing this, if you're charging it, you can run to move around, but the charge doesn't go up. But
Okay.
but if it's like you need to get out of the way of something, you can. You're not locked in, but the charge won't go up. But also your stamina continuously goes down. But like if you get that boom, boom, charge up all the way, you're like bam, you do like huge
Feels
damage.
good, yeah.
It's really cool. And you like break a piece off their face or something like that. It's super sick. There's also an umbrella I used before, which is really cool because it's the only weapon that I've messed with that you could like parry or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
It's like all about keeping attack going really fast and keeping a meter up to do a lot of damage. You like start to go in the air from what I remember if you like attack more. So you're like constantly kind of flying in the air, stuff like that, getting sweet parries. It's really fun. There's like a giant bow I have to mess with, and there's like a cannon. There's still a lot of weapons I have to mess with. I'm trying to just like get through the game first to a point where I'm like, okay, now I can experiment with a bunch of weapons,
Right.
which I'm gonna have to do. But so far, it's been good. I like my weapon. I'm having a lot of fun. It's not nearly as complex as Monster Hunter.
Okay.
Because, like, I feel like Monster Hunter, especially, you know, like in Sunbreak or whatever, it can get very complex in what you can do. It's very satisfying,
Yeah.
but it's just way
You
harder
gotta
to get into.
think about like all the extra little support
Yeah.
items and buffs and
Yeah. And so far, there hasn't been any, like, you know, I'm not, like, putting sockets on anything like that or anything quite yet. Nothing too crazy like that. Like, I just have the gear, pretty much.
And is your gear and weapons? Is it same kind of like forge crafting system
Yes.
as Monster Hunter? Where
Yeah,
you're using
kill enemies,
okay.
you make stuff out of them, you
Gotcha.
get materials, all that cool stuff.
How about the environments? Like how
Really cool.
Yeah,
So-
how they look? Are they very intricate with like maybe like secret paths? Or
Yeah,
narrow-
there's secrets and stuff like to find. Like that little robot buddy I mentioned earlier. There's like 50 in a zone scattered throughout the zones, and if you find them, you get the material to upgrade your buddy. So you're gonna be finding them all the way throughout. If you explore, you know, there's crafting materials you'll need to make new weapons and stuff like that to upgrade them. And like the first zone is like a forest or something. You know, you got like little streams going on there, but you got like a ruined village too. It's very pretty looking. Then there's like a snow one with like a huge ruined castle. Then like I was fighting one guy and we started at the bottom. Then he would slowly move up towards the tip of the castle throughout the fight. And it's really awesome. And there's like an ocean one where there's like the beach and everything. And then you go in and like rocks and volcanic kind of stuff like that. So the environments have been really good. They're all like very Japanese because they're supposed to be. It's like in Japan, the game.
Yeah.
Which is funny after Rise is kind of like Japanese, like monster, or like in Japan almost, or Japanese inspired. So it's been kind of funny to see how similar they are in some ways, but it's been good getting around the zones. You don't have like a mount or anything like that. Okay. So you are running around, but you can there's like little spots on the map you can unlock where you're allowed to build like camps. So you can like, there's a bunch of spots on the map. Think of like the camps of Monster Hunter or whatever, but you can do more to them to customize them. So you can put like a little hut down, and if you put the hut down, you can fast travel to it. You can lay out like some like food stuff, so you can hang some food that will like cook over time to be better.
All right.
Stuff like that. I put like a shrine that will just collect minerals over time. And I can just visit you and just get stuff like that. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do. There's even like little things like a sign if you want, just to customize and make it feel a little more homey for everyone like that. But you can put a lot of this stuff throughout the map. Like there's like a harpoon gun you can shoot on a wall, so you can like glide across stuff. So you could put these just anywhere on the map. So if you're just like, I want to have this here forever, okay, you can just leave it there. So, go ahead.
So if you can put it anywhere on the map, does that mean can monsters destroy your base?
Yeah, monsters can run into it.
Oh, okay.
Not you. They don't really go like in the designated camp area.
Okay.
But if you have stuff out in the field, they can just totally run through it. Yeah.
Okay.
But one thing is cool I like about this game is it's how you find a lot of the monsters. Of course, you can just go out there and run around and try to find it, but there's these towers you make. And I was putting them on through the map because they put out like a pulse aura, and it lets you know whatever's around there kind of thing. So I'm like, I'll put one in this corner of the map, then I'll put one on this corner of the map, and this corner of the map, so it like gets huge coverage. So I'm like, okay, there it is. It helps me find that guy.
Like a tracking mechanism, yeah.
But of course, when you start in a zone, you can't put as much stuff out as right away. You got to like go through it and kind of unlock stuff. So, but once you start building it up and you start having little things you left in, like I was like, oh, I left that thing in there like a week ago. I totally forgot that. I was like, I'm glad I had this here. It made this getting up this way easier. So it's cool. You have like a stamina meter. So obviously in combat, you can't like do everything forever. But this also, you can climb pretty much anything too in the game.
Oh.
You can't climb super high, but you can like do stuff to help you, like the boxes and stuff. So you are climbing like a lot more. But yeah, I guess the only downside is it's not even a downside, it's just running around sometimes. It can take a little bit unless you don't have fast travel. But, you don't need a Palamute every time.
For progression in this game, is it the same as Monster Hunter where like you're going up the ranks and getting like harder things, or is it slightly different?
Yeah, there's like, there's the story of like your character and villagers like that, and you get to like a main city and all that stuff, and you're doing side quests for them and all that good stuff. But then, it's like chapter 1, these monsters, chapter 2, then it's like these monsters, and it shows their ranks or whatever, so you know. But I'm only in like chapter 3. I think there's maybe like 4.
But you haven't come across something where you need like a hunter rank of this level?
No,
like,
not yet.
Gated yet?
Not yet. I haven't hit that yet or anything like that. Like there was a monster for the story I was fighting against, and it was just like killing me like hard. I was like, oh, I'm really underleveled for this. I was like, I gotta kill some lower tier monsters first to get to like. That's what it's been like. It hasn't been like, yo, you're not hunter rank 8 or anything like that.
Gotcha.
Because you don't necessarily have to go back to like Monster Hunter. You finish your hunt, you go back to the town right away. You don't have to go back to the town kind of thing often.
All right.
A lot of times for like the quests, you can just go back to your camp or whatever like that and hunt another one right away. You don't have to go back to town every time.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
That's nice, yeah.
Especially because you can build like a crafting bench, so you can just do your upgrades at your camp if you want instead of having to go back to town. But at town, there are side quests you'll want to get, an optional mini quests like, hey, killed 10 of these guys and you'll get like a point or something like that. It's got a lot of the staples of Monster Hunter, but it is different, especially with the katakuri thing. That's what really separates it to me. And it has been a lot of fun. I can't wait to play online with more people. It's not out officially yet, so it's hard to group up with a lot of people because it'll definitely be easier for some of the fights when you're not solo. But it's been great. I think if you like Monster Hunter, you're having a good time. It's different enough to me. and I want to play more. Like,
Yeah,
I'm feeding
and like all
it.
the monsters have like some plant.
Yeah, they're all like
tie-ins.
they're all
Yeah.
like one of the early ones. A lot of them have like tree tie-ins and like that. One of the cool ones was he was like a gorilla, but he was like magma. He had like rock and like magma stuff. And when they like do their
So not
berserk-
necessarily plant, but like elemental.
yeah,
kind of,
kind of
okay.
like nature-esque kind of things. Like but when they do like their fury stage, they do like a whole transformation. It's really flashy and all that stuff. And they get super aggressive. There's this I forgot his name. I just call him Water Dog, but his name's something Dog, and I just call him Water Dog. But he's like a little he looks like a little beaver almost, dude. And he does this move where he sucks in everything around him, like, and he gets really big, and he goes like, doo, 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 doo. And he does like one last huge chest slam and like does big AOE damage. But if you roll at the right time, you'll like not get hit or anything like that. So it's been a lot of stuff, me just figuring out that kind of stuff, and using my Katakuri, like they can definitely help on certain monsters, man. Like some of the things I got, like shot a bird down, like brought him back down to the earth. But it's like I can't constantly do that. Like if I do something that powerful, it's like all my stuff's pretty much gone. So I can't like just spam it all the time. But like, I like to just like put up a little like a turret thing or a little bit, like shoot some arrows at him for a little bit. Or I'll set up a couple, but I'm out after that. So it's fun mixing in all that stuff, especially when I can't get super close to them maybe, or if I'm like I don't want to get close to them yet because I'll die if I do.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these guys can mess you up if you're not careful. You know, you've played Monster Hunter, you can go down pretty fast if you're not careful. But healing's a little more forgiving, I would say. So you can eat and stuff too. You don't have to eat at your base necessarily, and it doesn't go away during the hunt. You can just kind of have food on you push left on the D-pad and all your food's there and you can just eat it or whatever and you can see what it gives you. And if you die, it stays through the whole hunt. I think it stays with you the entire time until you go back to you go to a new zone. So you can like hunt multiple guys in the same zone. But yeah, it's been really good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I haven't talked about it.
Like how you fail on the mission? Is it similar to Monster Hunter where you get like 3 tries?
Yeah.
Okay.
So far everything I've seen has been like 3. Some of them I think have been 2. But you just, you wipe, you gotta do it again. That's just the way it is. I feel like there was something else I wanted to talk about, but now I can't remember.
Are you paying attention to the music yet? Because I know Monster Hunter has some pretty like epic
It's
sounding
cool.
music when you're
It's
fighting.
cool. It has some good music. I'm honestly, I'm so focused on the fight usually.
Alright.
Yeah.
I'll have to like record it and just like solely focus on that music. Like it fits with the fights and it's like high intensity, but it's like I really need to focus on that solo at the time. But yeah, it's great. Lots of fun weapons. Definitely want to experiment more.
Is it holding up performance-wise and all that?
So yeah,
that's a
for the
good
most
question.
part, some of the monsters I felt like in the earlier zones, one monster in particular seemed to kind of lag more or like frame rate more than others, where I was just like noticing it. And I did some co-op there, and it felt like I was playing in slow motion at times. But the game's not out yet. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a day 1 patch, so hopefully I'll fix it. This game is also cross-play with cross-platform, so
Oh, great.
if your friend's got a different platform, you can all play together, no problem. I don't think it has cross-platform save or anything like that, though. So, but it's still like, hey, man, you can just play with anyone, which is great, especially when Monster Hunter has been dropping the ball on that recently.
Yeah.
So, good shot, I guess.
Does it have like any of the goofy vibe that Monster Hunter has with like animations? Like when you go and cook and like they do like the exaggerated like animations,
Yeah, it's
like
got
any of that
some-
fun stuff.
Yeah, it's got like a lighthearted side to it. I think Monster Hunter is maybe a little better just because it has like palicos, and I think they add a lot to that. But yeah, it's got a little bit of humor to it.
Okay, I know it's one of its more endearing qualities of Monster Hunter.
Yeah, yeah,
People
totally.
love that charming stuff.
Definitely. The character creator is also very good in the game. You can make your own character, and it's pretty in-depth. I know Isla did a little bit too, and she was impressed. So if you're into that, you can make
she
whatever character
brought
you
that
want.
up right away.
Yeah. So yeah,
Pretty cool.
it's good. Comes out Friday, I think. But it's like, I can't wait to get back to this, and I want to hunt with some people when it actually comes out, test those servers, see how they're holding up when the game's actually out. But yeah, great game. If you like Monster Hunter, I think it's kind of a no-brainer.
Sweet.
Sick.
Alrighty. Another no-brainer game to me, Metroid Prime Remastered just came out out of nowhere. I don't know. It's very un-Nintendo-like to me, actually. Or is it Nintendo-like? Because I can never predict what they're going to do.
I mean, they'll have like little games that they'll drop in here and there, like the Kirby's Buffet or whatever, but
This feels one of the bigger, higher profile
Definitely.
shadow drops.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. This is something you felt like. When I showed, I'm like, oh, cool. Like it's probably coming this summer or something. Like today. With that long pause, I'm like, you're not saying today, are you?
Yeah.
you're no way. And then they say today, and I'm like, okay, that's what everyone's gonna be going to play. Yeah, this thing had been long rumored for a while.
Long rumored.
A lot of people have been saying that something involving either the original game or the original Prime trilogy, was coming to Switch, and now we see this Metroid Prime Remastered. We played a bit of it the day it dropped. I know Blood has said he's gone and played a little bit on his own as well.
Yeah, I haven't gotten farther than you got in the stream, but yeah, I've been playing other things too.
It is a sight to behold.
Yes, I've heard it looks very good.
It looks really good in action.
Question, does it run at 60?
Solid.
Beautiful.
Very
rock
Love
solid.
it.
Very good.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have another example of going back and playing a game, and it makes you think about how it looked when it came out. That we were talking about this, how it did not literally look like this when it came out because this looks better, but now it's making me think, it looks just as good because when I saw it when it first came out, this is how it looked to me.
That's what I thought of when I played Dead Space
mind-blowing, those
remake.
visuals, yeah.
I was like, this is how it always looked, or
Yeah,
it
when
should
you,
have looked.
it's so funny, like when you, because like when I would see places that Damiani is playing, it's like, oh yeah, I can see some more detail or whatever. But then I see people post the side by side shots, and it's like,
yeah,
oh,
night and day.
this is like somebody like carving out a chunk of wood with an axe, and then this is somebody who's like actually sculpting something.
Yeah. The only thing I saw was like someone said the doors looked kind of weird. Some of the
So
doors.
it's just weird because I feel like they changed the design on the doors a little
Okay.
bit, and
Got it.
so like the original door guy who worked so hard on getting certain aspects of them right, he
got
was
it.
criticizing them, but I think it's more of it's just like
Artistic.
they just updated the design.
I wasn't personally noticing it when I was playing it till it was called. The attention was called to it. Which,
I mean, it's been a long
yeah,
time since you probably played it, so.
Exactly. And that aside, the texture work in this game. I mean, yeah, it's like improved models, but the texture work is putting in so much work and making this game look so fantastic.
Yeah.
And how well helping it like stand out in 2023. The fact that like this is such a good-looking game for being a remastered effort.
How old is this game?
So it originally came out in 2002.
Wow.
For the GameCube, and it looked good then
Yeah, of course,
on
it looked
GameCube,
great.
obviously. But seeing it now, it's just this gets people
Showpiece.
excited about Nintendo. Would you do this with more of your things? Because we've had other HD efforts, but this is the best.
I was going to ask you, is this the best HD effort they've ever done?
Yeah, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD are not even like
more desired. More desired, yes.
Like Wind Waker, I think is a little bit harder of a case because of its specialized aesthetic, but like Twilight Princess, I would
with Wind
dream
Waker,
of
like,
something
I
like
felt
this.
like the bloom was a little too much
In Wind Waker? Yeah.
with
Oh,
HD.
HD.
Yeah.
And then it had like frame rate dips that the original didn't have.
Yeah, it also is like a larger like world, I guess, like the ocean, and maybe getting that to run correctly. I don't know, but
Yeah.
Twilight Princess, I think is a slightly different case, perhaps, but that is something
That has some redone textures. Like,
But-
I've been playing it recently.
it's
But-
improved, right?
But, like, I'm like, why is this game not 60 frames at least?
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, at least they got it right with Skyward Sword making that 60 frames. But I was just like,
Okay.
why isn't this 60?
If they can make Skyward Sword 60 frames, Twilight Princess at the very least can be made 60 frames. And
Yeah.
I would imagine maybe the only thing holding it back in the Wind Waker is because they talked about when making Breath of the Wild that the technical limitations for the GameCube for realizing their vision of the Great Sea.
Yeah.
And it has like you play it, like, you notice the issues with loading and,
Yeah.
and the frame rate when you're playing it. But back to Metroid Prime though.
Yes.
The atmosphere in that game.
God tier.
It's just so masterful.
The atmosphere, the music, it's so good.
It's just like you start playing it and you don't want to put it down. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing how it just continuously does that. No matter how long I've been away from it, I go back and play it. And man, I wanted to get to Phendrana Drifts, and I was so happy that we got there to crunch on that part, because that part just wowed me so much. Like seeing that snow environment, because before that, I really wasn't. I don't even know if there even was like a snow environment in a Metroid game before Prime 1. I'm not entirely
I don't
sure.
think so.
But seeing it in 3D
Yeah,
and
of
realize like
course,
that, I was just
yeah.
like, this is really nice looking, and that
Yeah.
music,
So-
ooh, so good.
It's been a long time since I've played this. So the most thing I'm curious about, and I know at the time when I played it, I thought they handled it very well, is how they transitioned from, the Metroid design philosophy from 2D space to a 3D space. Like, it's a whole different ballgame when you have to do that. How is this holding up, do you think, this time around?
I still think it holds up super well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the thing.
Still that's why this is still
That's why
good.
it makes more sense for them to just do a visual overhaul than like trying to
Change
reimagine
things,
it, because it's like, no, like the level design in this is just insane.
Yeah, I think that would be a really difficult task to do like a full-blown reimagining of this game.
Yeah,
because
that's
you
a
have to
lot of
start
work.
from scratch about this masterwork of level design and item placement and like the mapping of your progress and how players are going to.
so impressive.
Yeah, and
I think like there's a thing with it too, where like a lot of the stuff where you need to come back with upgrades later or whatever, like it feels natural. It doesn't feel like just like, oh, here's a dumb video game thing.
Yeah.
Like there are areas early on, that kind of have that half pipe shape that you need the boost ball or whatever for later. And when you first walk through them, you like your brain just doesn't even notice them.
Yeah.
They just blend in. And then once you have that ability and you look at it again, it's like you're seeing it for the first time. And that is to me, like, that's the essence of like what this genre is about.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, I need, X whatever obvious thing to go through a door because there's a door here that I arbitrarily can't unlock,
Has anyone done a game like this as well as them? A Metroidvania in 3D?
I mean, I don't know if explicitly like that. Like, I think a lot of the, the Soul series relies on similar, like,
Oh, sorry,
intertwining
Blood. Let me
paths and
rephrase
but
this.
you
I
don't
guess-
you don't need specific items.
Sir,
to
let me rephrase
get
this.
places or anything
I
like
should have been
that.
a little more clear. A first-person game.
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I don't
think so.
Yeah,
Seems kind of weird. I
it's-
guess it's a daunting task. I guess, but
Yeah, I don't like.
it's just impressive how old this game is and how well some of that design still holds up.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
I feel like most, other like big first-person games or shooters or whatever, like
Nowadays,
like
probably.
you either you have like the level-based kind of design like Halo. It's like there will
Stages,
be
whatever.
secrets and skulls out in weird places or whatever, or you'll have just like this massive open world. Like I don't know that there's too many games that really do this kind of level design. Where you get all the the power-ups and
Yeah,
like,
totally. Yeah.
like Zelda, obviously. Like you're talking about playing Twilight
Yeah.
Princess, and when you get the double claw shots, it's like that's a
things open
moment.
up more. Yeah, for sure. It really makes me think that like retro is definitely one of the best in the biz. When I think about it,
Yeah.
it's like
Well,
we haven't seen a
consistent
lot.
with what they've actually put out.
With
yeah.
what they've put out. Yeah, like a lot of their stuff takes a long time to come out. It seems like, but it's like it's damn good when it comes out. Damn good.
Yeah, I imagine part of the answer to your question is why there isn't as any others is probably because of how difficult it is to create and craft a world like
Yeah,
this.
like this.
I imagine it's probably a little bit easier to generate just an open world with like just go do what you want, but there's no like limitations. Like you're not hard locked out of a place, or as you said, just like level based stuff. And certain FPSs just like their campaign relies on being very narrative driven. So it's like go forward,
That's true.
go forward. It's about the immersion is about the presentation and being in that moment for the narrative purposes. Where this immersion is you're in this world and you need to like it's living and breathing. You got to understand it and track where you're going and the progress. It's not really there is a narrative there, but like that's not the driving focus.
Sure.
And I think that is one of the most impressive things is that you don't really have like a story saying like, hey, like what's the like Samus should do this because of that. It's you just want to get through this world. You want to see what you want to see him
what
do
it's
everything,
about,
which is really cool.
Yeah. I bet Respawn could probably do a pretty cool game like this.
Yeah.
They seem to have a good grasp on FPSs.
Yeah. So like Titanfall 2 is another like good example of something that's a little bit more
different.
level based. Like you use traversal a lot more than you do in a lot of other shooters.
Yeah, definitely.
But you still like
It's not the
you
same.
don't like backtrack into the same areas and stuff like that.
And then Yeah, the other part's just like the amount of platforming and like jumping around you're doing.
Yeah.
Whereas like
First-person platforming,
Titanfall 2 does do that a lot as well.
Yeah.
Which was really nice to have another game that was focusing on that. But again, it wasn't same type of design. As
No. Yeah, I know they're not the same. I'm just saying I think Respawn could probably do a good interpretation of that.
Oh, just saying like I imagine they could. Just the level of like how impressive it was for the time that Retro was doing this and factoring all this in. So it wasn't as simple as like it's this first person shooting and then having to get enough items. Like you must also like verticality. It's like you got to be able to reach up there. Oh, that's too high. Maybe you need a double jump. Maybe you need the boost the Wally and Morph ball to like boost up there and get up to a higher spot, or maybe you need like the spider ball to go up the rails. There's just like a lot of cool things you would see in there, and like you'd be like, I'm gonna be able to do this later. I can't wait to get that. Or seeing doors which take like a different type of weapon to activate them, and then there's the whole thing with like scanning in this game. I don't know if there's anything really done before this game that was to this caliber of like this is how you get informed by like actually scanning things, getting information. It will help you either learn how to defeat enemies, about clues to your environment, or the narrative stuff all hidden through that, which is really
the
cool.
optional lore, basically. Yeah.
Let's talk about the combat in it. How's it been this time around? I know the control scheme's a little better now.
Yeah, that dual stick setup is really nice. Obviously, the game was not originally designed around it, so I think it's a fair comparison to compare it to like when RE4 got pointer controls as well, where that wasn't designed around having that level of accuracy.
The headshots.
Yeah, but I don't think it's that extreme of a case, but it's like kind of somewhere in between. It just feels so good to play, though. I don't care if it's a little bit easier to like. The challenge layer. I've played this game so many times. I'm not playing it for the challenge anymore. I just want it to feel good when I'm playing it.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be challenging necessarily. It's just if it feels good to go through.
And also, this didn't exist before, so it's technically a new way to go through and play the game.
Yeah.
Like new control schemes are always nice. Like imagine if somehow there was like a real without weird workarounds like GoldenEye's was when it came to Nintendo Switch Online, they offered analog. Like a true dual analog, like not having to go through the menu, but like the two controllers doing a weird workaround, but actually repatched in or reworked a dual stick option for GoldenEye. That would be like, holy crap! I
think the Xbox version might.
Maybe it does. Yeah. But an N64 version, you have to do, you set it to the two controllers. And apparently, you can use two Joy-Cons that are desynced. They're not like synced to one controller. And you could like put them on the little thing. So left from player one, right from player two. And now you have dual stick control. But
that is funny.
To me, like the dual stick doesn't make that much of a difference on combat itself because you still primarily will use the lock on. It does give you a little freedom to be like, maybe if you're just more comfortable shooting that way. I think there's also gyro options too.
Well, it's probably just easier to look around the environment in
that's
general.
the thing.
Yeah.
That's looking around the environment and platforming is where the dual stick really makes it easier. Because otherwise you just kind of have that weird, like a little bit tanky kind of feel to everything.
I just remember doing like when I got used to environments and knew where to go, I stopped wasting so much time trying to turn the right way. I'd be like, I'm going to side jump here because I know it's here. Whereas this is like, I could just face the right way the whole time and look, like it feels a little bit more natural to me.
That's funny, dude.
Versus having to, use the system, kind of like work around its limitations. So this is really nice. But the original options are still in there if you do want to play it that way.
I think this is a really cool release because Metroid is kind of on an upswing from what it's been. Like, obviously, Metroid games have been always really good, but it hasn't been the most popular. A lot of people have only played the 2D ones, going like, especially the newer generation. But it's like, hey, here's a 3D one, a great one on modern hardware. So I'm hoping this gets more people into the series.
Well, yeah, I mean, and then you look just like install base wise, right? Like,
you're on the Switch.
There are 100 million more Switches than there are GameCubes.
Yes, yes, that's a fair point.
It's very promising to see it like rising to the top of the charts. Like the physical copy is sold out on like every site. The eShop last week it was like the number one spot. It would be a really good success story to see this, Metroid surpass their expectations, but also bodes well for the future.
Yeah,
because maybe Nintendo puts like a little bit more stock into it because they've been like fans and consumers have shown faith in the series.
Yeah,
not just like the 2D entries, But now, like
Yeah,
Prime,
I think getting both super important.
and I think it'll be an important step to determining whether or not, if they don't, or it's not already in the works, whether 2 or 3 get this treatment at some point as well.
I think that'd be awesome. I would love if they did. I know they're doing 4, and who knows when that's coming out, but I think 2 and 3 would be great also. Garrett Holfish wrote in, said, Metroid Prime Remastered is the best example of good lighting on Switch since Luigi's Mansion 3. The way the light bounces around in interiors and the newly casted shadows really make you feel present in the environment. I'm always fascinated by games that punch above their weight on lower powered systems. There are plenty of examples on DS like Dementium
Dementium Award.
or COP, the recruit that shows full 3D environments.
I do not know COP. That's interesting.
What are some memorable games for you that punch above their weight? I guess graphically.
Oh. I mean, it's interesting because it's a technical punch above your weight, but I don't feel like it necessarily visually comes across. But the Conduit on Wii, like they were just
Conduit.
They were throwing all kinds of graphical effects and techniques.
Well, they were
and
punching
stuff
above their
in
weight
there.
for
Yeah.
sure.
They're like, no, you can do this on the Wii.
Factor 5 stuff, Rogue Squadron,
man.
Rogue Leader.
Yeah. Wow.
And Battle for Naboo on N64, then Rogue Leader on GameCube.
I remember in that era when Factor 5 was really huge and hyped, they would put out these samples of things audio-wise. Because they were huge on audio compression and making things work that should not. And you would hear things that they would do on the Game Boy, and you're just like, I don't understand
how you did this.
How is this possible?
Yeah.
On the Game Boy. But yeah. And you saw it on the N64, how good the Star Wars games sounded and looked. And then when they came to GameCube at launch, using everything the GameCube could do. Like, you've got bump mapping, you've got cell shading, you've got freaking DVD commentary.
Yeah.
The music in there, where the original score was pretty much indecipherable to the game score from anybody that wasn't like a giant Star Wars nerd. Like, it was just, it was crazy.
I definitely feel like GoldenEye was one where I was just like, dude, how did you do this on this system?
And Perfect Dark After.
Perfect Dark After, yeah.
Holy crap. It's just much larger.
Colemeyer wrote in, good morning, allies. It's morning somewhere. So, is Metroid Prime the best GameCube game? Love and respect.
Ooh.
So
that's hard. I'd have to look through.
If you say exclusive, that's probably close to a yes. If you say anything that graced GameCube or was a timed exclusive, I mean, you have to throw an RE4 into that mix because RE4 debuted on GameCube.
I think. I think
Twilight
Metroid
Princess
Prime
is definitely up there.
Yeah, I would say Prime's definitely on the top. I think both Zeldas I would put up there. I'd put Melee up there.
Melee is huge. Melee is
just like
It's
insane.
definitely
games.
top. It's definitely top 5 at the very least.
Yeah,
easily top 5.
Like most of the Nintendo first party stuff's always super good on their systems. So.
Yeah, top 5 or maybe top 3 lock easily.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a delightful surprise, I guess, to get this. Even though I still want my Twilight Princess Wind Waker thing.
Right.
I can't be mad at this, and I was happy to get this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now I want Twilight Princess with more effort because I've seen this.
Now,
maybe that's why it's taking longer because
now,
they're
at this
doing.
Point, Damiani, I'm like, hey, dude, just wait till the next system.
Yeah. maybe they're working on it a little bit more intensely, like a little bit more effort for it. That's why it's
support in the
future. It's
future.
taking longer. But yeah, I guess I wouldn't be surprised to see and hopefully sometime this year in the near future them talk about Prime 4.
Yes.
'Cause I in my mind, I always thought, okay, there seems to be a lot of smoke around this Metroid Prime trilogy remaster, original game remaster, remake, whatever at the time. I think they're just going to save it for when it's ready to start ramping up towards Metroid Prime 4. Yeah. So to me, my interpretation of this is that we're about a year out max from Metroid Prime 4.
Sure, I could see that.
I could see it being this holiday, and they just don't want it. They want that short 3 to 5 month lead time, and it's too soon to talk about it. Or maybe it is like a swan song game for maybe next year for the Switch.
I'm thinking it's both for Switch and whatever their next thing is.
Oh, you think it's gonna be cross-gen?
If it doesn't come out this year,
yeah,
I think it'll be cross-gen.
Yeah. Sorry, that's probably a very
I know Metroid's
reasonable
not
take.
only Zelda really gets that treatment usually, it seems like, but I don't see why not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is weird. Like, I can't think of any other games other than like. We came up in the Game Boy discussion in the podcast. The Wario Land 2 was released for Game Boy and then came out for Game Boy Color not that long afterwards.
That's
That
true.
is weird.
The Oracle games, they didn't do a cross-platform thing, but they were considering putting a GBA version. But instead, when you play them on GBA, there's a shop that's only available when you play it on GBA.
Oh,
so
I didn't know that.
There's exclusive content to the Oracle games
Wow,
on GBA.
I didn't know that.
Which I'm going to be very intrigued if you can access it
Right.
and then they drop.
I
if
hope
there's-
so.
Like that's the thing. They have the filters. I know we're not really diving deep into this, but a big question I have is: will there be any GBA functionality to any of the older Game Boy games for something like that? Because I think there's like one or two other games that had something similar to that.
Damn, I didn't know that. That's cool, dude.
But if not,
Shit.
I hope they just put it in. Like they could just unlock it in
I
just
think
put
they
in
should.
the Game Boy version.
Cool. Metroid Prime.
Yeah.
We all three highly recommend this game. It's very good.
Yes.
Very, very good. Play it if you got the money for it or whatever. Check it out. All right. So the next game we're going to talk about is Hogwarts Legacy. Blood, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of don't, but I do. Like,
Sure.
It's not gonna be perfect. I just and it's like, and it's not meant to be like an argument or to like
Correct. Yeah,
tell
yeah,
anybody
totally.
else what to
We're
do.
just having a
from
conversation,
my
Blood.
perspective, and just like for me, because there's just like a lot of heat around this game, right?
Yes.
Yeah, for me as Daniel Bloodworth, not speaking for anybody else, but it's like I am not at this point in time, like I'm not really into boycotting things personally or as a critic or like trying to avoid things or whatever. Is like I kind of want to like see like what the the game is on its own, and then with the news stories, like cover the good and the bad of things that are going on. And part of that kind of goes back into like my own history, and like I've been sort of down that road before, where it's like periods of my life is like, okay, well, don't listen to that band and don't watch this movie and don't do this and don't do that, and I felt like for me it kind of put me in like this like sort of almost like unhealthy frame of mind.
Sure.
For like so like suspicion and gossiping about things and just kind of feeling like sort of disconnected from other people as well. But then like at the same time, it's like I understand that because of things that the original creator has said, that like people that I care about and people in our community, like they feel targeted and they don't want to have anything to do with that, and they feel like betrayed and like this thing has been tainted. And so like and then there are other people that just like they don't care, like they'll just play the game.
Sure.
They can let whoever do whatever, and it doesn't really affect them one way or the other. So I guess to me it comes down to sort of like a matter of conscience, right? It's like, some people it's like they, feel weird for playing it, and then for me it's like I feel weird, to not play it for some other reason, like I feel like, like to me it's like it just have that like checks, like I feel like, one way or another, like if there's somebody that's into this, then like we should cover it,
Yeah, like we pretty much get to play usually what we want.
Yeah.
Like people don't have to play something they don't want to, and most people honestly just didn't want to play here, which is totally fine. I'm the only one who was interested in it.
Yeah.
But I got Wild Hearts first, and we didn't have a lot of time with the embargo for Hogwarts, so I prioritized Wild Hearts because I was personally more interested in that game, and that's the reason why I didn't review it or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, like.
And that's just my approach. It's like if somebody wants to do this, then they could do it. And if nobody wants to do it, I'm not going to force somebody to do it. But then it's like for myself, it's like I didn't care about Harry Potter.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
So
Like,
it's
no one,
like,
most people just didn't care, or they just didn't want to play it. It's like that's totally cool.
and then there's kind of the broader things, like I don't want to run the logic circles because everyone like has their arguments and their counterpoints already figured out on everything, it feels like, with these conversations. But it's like, to me, it's like, in some sense, even though I don't care about Harry Potter, I've seen, the people that do, that it's like, I feel like on some level, like the good that can come out of this franchise in terms of like how people identify by it and how people are inspired by it, and like the community and stuff that comes around it, like at some level, like I feel like that's gotta like outlast and like overpower and be bigger than anything that, somebody like negatively connected to it could do. Like I just think that it's bigger than its creator.
Sure. Yeah.
But all that said, like, I want to be humble. Like, I don't claim to have all the answers. And so that's why I just feel like with this stuff, it's just like, go with your gut. Don't feel like you need to pressure other people to do one thing or the other, and and just kind of do what you feel content with, I guess.
Yeah. I just wanted to talk about the game as a game, pretty much.
Yeah, and that and
that was
that's
just my whole approach.
To get into it, now let's hear about the game.
Yeah.
Like what is this game about in this franchise I've never really gotten into?
So Hogwarts Legacy, obviously, you're a wizard at Hogwarts, dude. You're going to school here. You're a fifth-year student coming into the school for the first time, which
it's like
is
a
unusual.
Prequel, right? It's
Yes,
like way before stuff.
This is like the 1800s, I believe.
Okay.
It's like very far in the past, kind of thing like that. But I'm a fan of Harry Potter. I'm not a mega fan by any means, but like I've seen the movies and I liked them, and I read a book before, so I was like, I'm kind of familiar with it. But it's like, I think if you're a fan of the series, you're gonna have a good time with this game, because like this game is very impressive in some ways, and, like the sense of capturing that world. So I won't talk about the story stuff. I don't want to spoil anything like that. But essentially, you get to the castle and like you're in Hogwarts Castle, man. And this castle, you can go like anywhere. You can run just like anywhere, and the amount of detail in all the zones, like you got the pictures on the walls, like talking, all that stuff. Do you have a question?
Interior and exterior?
Yes.
Okay.
Damiani, so there's the castle, but then there's stuff outside the castle.
All right.
And a lot of stuff. Like this is a big game. A big game.
Okay.
I've only played like 3 hours of the game so far, but it's like in my time with it, I was in Hogwarts, like there's so much to do. There's like quests like you can do, but I was just exploring, going through the castle, just figuring out where stuff was.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of the biggest appeals is to like just see all this stuff rendered in that kind of detail.
Probably like the best looking version of it too.
Yeah,
because they've attempted in the past, but having it in this level of fidelity is probably like for people who've been looking forward to something like this.
I think so, definitely.
Yeah.
So like, been going through the castle. Then I went to Hogsmeade, like which is outside the castle. And
so you can go to Hogsmeade.
You like walk to Hogsmeade actually like that, and there's the whole town there, and you can go to like almost every shop.
Do you get to walk around on the train at all? Do they have you on the train when you
I don't
arrive?
know yet.
Is this a free train?
No, there's a train.
It's steam engine.
There's a
in
train.
1800s.
I think, Damian, I think I saw train tracks.
Okay.
But like, I think you can like fly in this game. I haven't gotten any of that yet.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
still like super early, super new.
I
So there's
imagine you
potential.
get-
There's teases potentially.
Big potential, all that kind of stuff. So let me just drop you in what it was like. So when you get to the school, you come to the school, you get your sorted hat or whatever. You know, the hat asks you like a couple questions and it'll place you in a house. But if you don't like the house, it suggests for you can pick.
Okay.
Okay, that's interesting. So it's like the old.
It's like, well, I
ogre
want that
battle or
house.
It's a
whatever.
video game.
Yeah.
They're like, you're gonna
Yeah.
you pick where you're going. Yeah.
But no, I do. But I think that's fun approach though to have sort of like it's like a little psychological profile, Silent Hill.
Yeah. It's not like as deep as I was hoping
Right.
it'd be. It was like 2 questions. I was like, all right, fine. But I got put in Slytherin because that's where I was back in the day. I'm like, all right, fine. I always thought I'd be Gryffindor. But then I
really?
took a test many years ago, and it's like, you're Slytherin. I was like, what? All right.
That's funny.
So now I'm a
it's
snake
like,
boy.
Is anyone
Hey.
that wants to be? I guess
This causes a lot of wars here, man.
Yeah, I guess. I was
And
like, all
people
right.
picking their houses.
I was like, all right, I guess I'm Slytherin. Like, I didn't pick it. It picked me, dude.
Yeah.
That's how it happened. I was like, all right, well, I'm in Slytherin. But, like, anyway, so what's cool about it is depending on what house you are in, you have a different, like, living quarter. So I'm in Slytherin. So I'm, like, in the fucking dungeons, dude. In the dungeons, like, there's, like, water running, like, sewer. Like, it's not a sewer, but there's, like, water running through. But it still looks very cozy and jolly. There's, like, nice tap. I'm, like... The environmental detail in this game is very impressive. Like how much is in the environment, how much of it feels a part of this world. Just like tapestries of like characters and stuff like moving pictures all this time. There's also a lot of like objects throughout the world you can interact with. Like it's like a broken statue. You can do reparo or whatever, and it'll fix
nice.
it back up, and it'll count towards something.
Because I
like
think
that.
that's one of the things that like I was wondering about is because like you see like a lot of like combat magic, you know, and the whatever the Gears of War Harry Potter game that was way back.
Definitely how
but like
those, yeah.
to me it'd be way more interesting to use other spells.
Yeah, so like I'll tell you some of the spells I have is like I have the reparo one where I can fix broken stuff. I have one where I can like pull stuff towards me. So there's like floating pages a lot in the environments you can collect. So you just like swing it, grab it to you like that. I have the light one where it has a little light. There's some areas in the game where it's very dark, so you need that.
Good.
One cool way that tied in, there's there's like quests throughout or little side things throughout the world. Like there's these mirrors, okay, and you look through the mirror and it tells you where. Sorry, the mirror, but there's like missing like butterflies or like something like that on the mirror. But it gives you a hint of where it is when you look in the mirror. So you go out and find it. If you find like the butterfly thing in the world, you use your wand to light up the light. Maybe it's a moth, and it'll like be attracted to your the light on your wand. So you walk it back towards the mirror, and it'll like unlock something for you. Cool little thing like that. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, you want to go like. It sounds like they're really nailing like,
that's
the
what I'm
environment
saying.
and the
Yes,
feel,
they
like
are.
in the moment to moment. My biggest question is the structure of this game.
So
you're going there as a student. Like, is it like Persona, like where you got like classes and stuff?
So you
Yeah,
have classes. Okay, so it reminds me of more of like Witcher structure, kind of in its open world, I guess. So like when you get to the class, you have your main objectives. My main objectives when I got the class were like go to these 2 classes. One of them was like charms or something like that. The other one was like against the dark arts. You could pick which one you want to go to. So at the first class, you go there, you meet a new student, you get a new friend, all that kind of stuff. Then I had a little competition with them where there was these rolling balls that you pull back and try to roll them onto like points. So there was like 10, 20, 30, 40, and you're trying to roll them back to score the highest points. You have a little competition with them. Then I went to the dark arts class, and I have like a duel with another student. Kicked his ass. No problem. Playing on hard, by the way.
Of course.
Sent him flying. But it was cool after that. I beat that student. He's like, hey, man, there's this like kind of secret club we got here on the campus that is like all about dueling. A little under like it's not necessarily part of the rules. It's like kind of like breaking the rules a little bit. But you can join this club, this dueling club. So I went to it as a side quest, and I fought these other 2 students. It was like a 2v2 kind of fight. Kicked both their asses. So now I'm top dog on the campus right now. Feels good. But let's talk about the combat real quick too. So right now all I have is basic. I have like a basic R2, which is like just like a little red thing, does damage. I also have this move where I can levitate them up a little bit. So if they have a shield or something like that,
yeah.
I can levitate them up or whatever to have them stun a little bit in the air. So
Leviosa?
Yeah, I think it's that. Yeah. So you can like go pew pew pew, break them off the shield. I also have a shield you can do with triangle. It's kind of like Arkham, I guess. Like a little thing flashes above your head, letting you know when to do it.
Okay,
got it.
So you push like triangle, like puts up a little shield around you. If you hold it, you'll do like a counter attack. So a lot of it's just kind of like knowing when to do the right spell or switch between targets, stuff like that. I'm sure stuff will get much more complicated, but I'm very early in the game, so. And I think I unlocked like a power, like an ultimate ability with like the trigger buttons. I haven't gotten to use it, but it said I unlocked something like that. Like at one point, I fight these like huge like troll guys, dude. They come in like messing up this town, dude. So I'm like fighting them, like throwing objects. Like I'm shooting them with R2, but there's objects on the ground. I'm pushing R1, and my character will like fling them at the guy and like that, all that good stuff.
Are
So
there
it's
like any kind of like summons or anything like that? In
I don't
Harry
know.
Potter where
There's
come
like
into combat?
I think so in the world. I don't know about in the game.
Patronus, but
Yeah,
like,
I don't
if you
know.
have that yet.
Maybe down the line, blood. I have no idea. I'm still very early. I feel like.
So talking about spells.
Yeah.
One of the headlines I saw. I don't know if you dabbled in this yet, using the curses.
So I feel like that's probably much later in the game.
Okay, because they said you could just
I'm
like,
still
start
a
using
fresh
them.
student.
And you're in Slytherin, man.
Yeah, and I'm a fresh student. I might get some frags. We'll see how I feel later down the line. What I like about Slytherin, though, in this is that, like, not everyone is evil in it, you know? Not everyone is malicious or anything like that.
That's a good depiction.
Like, people are pretty chill, a lot of them. Like, there's this like a blind kid in Slytherin you talk to. He's super friendly, super cool. There's like a lot of like nice people. Like, you interact with different houses. Like, one of this girl I interact with, she's like from a different school. She's like an exchange student.
Oh, okay.
So, like, make friends with her. Then there's a point where you can go to Hogsmeade with her or someone else. You get to pick who you want to go with. So there's some bonds there. So I'm like, okay, very cool, good stuff. But yeah, I think it's super impressive as a game. Granted, I'm still very early. I'll see how things change if I continue to go on and all that kind of stuff. But I'm very impressed so far how alive the world feels and how well it's captured it all visually. Where I'm like, wow, you have nailed the idea of a Harry Potter world very well.
Do you get to walk around the Great Hall when you're eating?
I haven't gone in there.
Like the feast.
So I haven't eaten in there. When I got there, the hat sorting ceremony.
I know you're
there.
Yeah, you're there, but like
I
when
haven't.
food.
I assume you can walk to there. I don't know if you. Well, you can like pick stuff like Damiani, at Hogsmeade.
I was just gonna ask how the food looked, because like,
Well, at Hogsmeade,
Final
Damiani,
Fantasy
there's
15
many
now.
like bars or like food places you can walk in and just like drink tea, get some health back, and like munch on some food.
they got
stuff like that.
butterbeer.
Yeah, they got butterbeer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it was cool at Hogsmeade. You like go, you pick out your wand, and you can like customize your wand. The way
Oh,
it looks.
Oh, do you go to
Yes.
Ollivanders and do that whole thing?
It's not.
Okay.
I don't think it's the same guy,
oh,
obviously, but like, yeah,
a store,
he
yeah.
like goes through the wands and he's like, try this one, and like sucks, and he's like, okay, try this one. And you like find your wand, all that stuff. There's like shops where you can buy new clothes. Like you get gear in this game that gives you better stats, like new outfits and stuff. But you can totally transmog it and wear whatever you want.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because I always picture them like wearing uniforms or whatever.
There are a lot of them's uniforms, but like,
Oh yeah. So you don't like start like in the beginning. You don't start off like shopping for this stuff ahead of time. Like
no.
in the
You
movies
get
and the
thrown
books.
into
Okay.
something happens and like your trip gets thrown off. So you kind of like get in there late.
Okay.
So you don't get to like go shop like most of the other students right
Yeah,
away. You do
okay.
that later, but it's like not immediately.
Like, do you have like an owl or anything like that, or a familiar?
I don't yet.
Okay.
I think you do get one though, because like okay, so Damiani in Hogsmeade, there's a bunch of and throughout like Hogwarts
I could see a
itself.
mechanic like that working, like Assassin's Creed style, where you have the owl scouting.
Yeah, I could totally see that. You have like a spell like that like it like just reveals what's all around you, stuff like that. You have stuff like that. But Damiani, there's several doors throughout Hogwarts and Hogsmeade that I've seen that are locked. And it's like lock level 1. So I'm like, oh, some of these I'm not going to be able to go to yet. And one of them was like a broom shop. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm probably going to be flying on
There
a
you
broom
go,
or something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that's one of the classes.
And I think
yeah.
you get like a griffin maybe or something like that too to fly on, some stuff like that. But yeah, so far it's been really very impressive. I think the Avalanche has done a great job of capturing the spirit of the world. If you're not a fan of Harry Potter, I don't know maybe if it'll do much for you. I don't know if this will be the one. Maybe. I'm not sure because it's kind of disconnected from the book. You can like just hop in, it seems like, and not have to have prior knowledge.
Yeah, I would say this is probably a better direction they went in.
Yeah,
considering
sure.
like because doing anything that's like
Connected
future,
to Harry.
yeah.
And
We've
all
seen
that
how many
stuff.
series have tried to like be
Yeah.
adjacent, like
Yeah.
related, and they like
Yeah,
you know they just don't go full in on it, and you know the results,
Yeah.
the mixed results they've had there that just set it super far in the future, which doesn't seem like it'd work for this, and or somewhere really far in the past
Yeah.
where it's just too far before everything else, and
Yeah.
have a clean break.
There's like some characters who are ancestors of characters. You know, there's like a Weasley or something like that.
Oh,
Like,
okay,
okay, yeah. It makes sense, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
There's that. Like that's the most I've seen. Like I said, I'm not a super fan, so I don't really know if the character's been talked about before. But yeah, I think Hogwarts is very good so far. I'm curious to see how it ramps up, how they introduce more things as it goes on. But I've been having a good time unlocking new outfits, you know, just doing a few little side quests, like helping students out, all that good stuff. Exploring the school, like I said, the environments has been super satisfying for me. But this is a big ass game. Big game. Like I looked at the map, dude.
Oh,
Massive. And I was just like, whoa, I did not expect it to be this long. So I think it's like 50 hours probably.
all right, yeah,
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
But yeah.
Yeah, the whole castle grounds, you got like the
Yeah.
forest,
And
and
what's cool
Hogsmeade.
about it,
Yeah, it seems like
Damiani,
it's
is
large scale.
Cool and not cool also is like you can move through the castle without loading screens. There's like no loading
Oh.
screens. But some of the doors I've noticed there's like it takes like a second for it to load. I was like, oh, hopefully they patch that or something because I had to wait there for like a second for it to open. But otherwise it's been pretty damn seamless. And like everything's gonna change whenever I can fly.
Do you think can you fall off the stairs, the moving stairs? Can you like walk off the edge
I
and
don't
fall?
know if you can. I think I tried to jump off, dude.
Okay,
I'm not
curious
sure
if they
though.
don't
It's
let you do
interesting though, that
it.
you talk about the loading doors, because now I'm wondering, where are the comparisons on door loadings in Metroid Prime? There's always a thing where like if you went too fast in Metroid Prime, you'd have to wait for the door.
We did it. When I was playing, I was like looking at it actively. Like this is much faster. I think the one that was still normal because it's narratively they're decompressing the room, so you have to wait. But like it was a little bit faster, I think, than it was even in the GameCube version because I think that was just like a trick they were doing. But I mean, it's a real thing. You got to wait for like decompression. So everything was like instant open in Prime. Sorry.
I've also been playing the PS5 version of this game, and it's been good. It's impressive. Runs solid, stable 60 frames. Looks pretty good. The only buggish thing I saw was kind of like some of the audio at one cutscene was a little off, it looked like. But for the rest of the game, it's been smooth sailing.
Yeah, I mean running
Yeah.
solid 60 is pretty
Yeah.
good for this game. As good as it looks.
Is it using any of the theme music or anything like that?
Okay, when you like collect something, Damiani, or something substantial, it does like the din din din, like the whatever the little jingle is from the series. But that's as far as I'm aware.
Okay, I didn't know
There
if they
could
were
be
like.
way more. I just don't know.
I imagine it would probably just like be the main theme song.
Yeah,
and it'd be
that's
like
what
kind of
it
a heavily
seems like.
overused.
That's what it seems like.
'cause,
But I could be wrong.
because it's Harry Potter.
Yeah. It seems like they are separating this from like Harry Potter himself, that whole storyline and all that other stuff. So it feels like it's its own kind of standalone thing, big time. Also, you can make your own character, pretty nice character creator. You can make whoever the hell you want, whatever wizard you want to be, anything like that. But yeah, there's also a trans character in it that's like pretty intense, like a badass. So I was like, whoa, don't fuck with this lady, dude. kind of thing. I was like, she's intimidating, dude. Don't mess with her. But yeah, I think it's a pretty cool game. All right. Let's move on to our next section, which is Sort It Out.
Oh, dang.
Huber's favorite segment, but he's not here. Basically, on this segment, we just kind of like talk about anything that we think is not so great in the gaming industry. Could be a game, just some news event, who knows, whatever. Anything that's just kind of annoying us, and we'd love to see sorted out. Mm-hmm. Is there anything you two would like to bring up? Anything. If you don't got anything, it's totally cool. The patrons are more than willing to pick up the slack.
I could repeat from the podcast, but just the instruction manuals.
There's instruction manuals, man. Sort it out. Sort it out.
Give me some instruction manuals.
Yo, let me remap buttons in those games individually.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So I don't have to hold like weird things when I'm playing Mario. Just like, come on. I don't want to do that. Don't make me buy another controller or something. I did it for the 64 because it's like atrocious without it, but it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got anything, Damiani? Anything bothering you?
No.
No, not this time?
Yeah.
Totally cool.
Had some last time.
Yeah. Sometimes, hey, dude, it's not a bad thing if you don't got anything you need sorted out. Let's see. This first one is from Blorp Snorp. Sort it out. I don't want to hear about any game more than 6 months before it releases. Or before its release. But especially when it comes to these indie retro-style games. There's only so many SNES-style Metroidvanias I can keep track of. If you show one of these during a direct state of play, E3, etc., have a release date and make it soon. Is that a slight at Hollow Knight?
It's a little bit of a slight, but I would say that they're definitely. This goes for a lot of like simpler indie games to where like you kind of get the concept right away, and it's like, okay, you see it again in a year, or like we'll do a preview and they want to do another preview, and I'm like, I did the preview, like I don't know what else we're gonna say about it at this point, and
exactly.
So, because sometimes like and it's not even necessarily that like that it's a great game even, but it's like it's a quick, simple concept, and you just want to hop into it right then. So I feel like sometimes it's like if you're gonna have the exposure of a Nintendo Direct or whatever, then like maybe have your game available very soon. And I think that goes for the Switch Online stuff as well. Mm-hmm. It kills me when they're like, here's the game's coming to Switch Online. And like, okay, great. Let me go download that tonight. Oh, 2 weeks from now. Okay.
Yeah.
Like
their rollout's
then I'm not
weird.
as excited when they finally do come out.
Yeah. Has their rollout on the NES games and SNES kind of just stopped?
Not stopped, but it's pretty trickle.
They just always have said there's like no schedule.
Yeah.
And they actually reconfirmed that same thing's going to be true for Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, that we have no content schedule for this that we're following.
Yeah, okay.
But I mean, N64 has been kind of almost monthly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have been dropping, but we're getting close to the end.
Sightbike hasn't come out yet, right?
Yeah.
No.
That's the thing. They've announced
We just got GoldenEye at least.
a few of those, and then it's like months to see them.
We're getting towards the end of those games they did announce initially. So what happens beyond that, that's what scares me. Is they show you that list, and it's like that's actually it, and then maybe every few months you might get one random game again. It's like like you don't see like a giant. I want to see like that giant image with like a huge catalog. And it's like they won't do that.
The thing is, it's like some of the N64 games I kind of want to check out, that haven't been on the service yet. Like they're bad games. Like I want to see Quest 64.
Oh, I want to see that too.
Yeah. Like I know it's not a good game.
Yeah.
But I was always curious
to satiate
about
my
it.
curiosity. All right. This is from Felipe Fonseca.
Fonseca, yeah.
Fonseca? Okay. Sort it out. Consoles are too damn expensive here in Brazil.
Oh.
Converting the prices from dollars and adding taxes make it a luxury item around here. Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, sort it out. For reference, our monthly minimum wage is like $1,300 and PS5 costs $4,500.
Yeah, I think that's partly the government to blame. I don't know all the details.
I don't know the details.
But I think it's like tariff stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Foreign things have to be taxed when they come in. So you'd always hear stories of people going on business trips and then buying it in America or somewhere else, and then bringing it back, and it would be cheaper to get on a flight to go buy it than to buy it
that's
there,
so
which is
crazy.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I want to say that for whatever reason there's like some loophole with the Genesis to it. That's why the Genesis had such a long lasting life there.
In Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if it's still true anymore, but a lot of game development used to target older specs, older gen stuff for there, because newer stuff just wasn't selling. It just doesn't have a high sell-through rate. So you'd see games being developed for older systems or older PC specs, because that's what the majority of people are playing there.
We don't have the answers to fix that, but I hope you're somehow able to get
us.
consoles cheaper in games. This next one's from Robert Lee. Sorted out PC ports. Games like the Callisto Protocol and Forspoken run like trash on PC. My first experience playing Dead Space was tarnished by constant stutters. To top it off, Warhammer Darktide has no controller vibration, and One Piece Odyssey removed the controller vibration function from the PC version.
Wow.
It's an absolute outrage. Yeah, PC ports I've been more skeptical about, getting a PC game at launch.
The stutter thing has been consistent.
It has been.
Exactly. It's like a shader loading.
I have no idea.
I forget exactly what it is. Somebody will say it. But yeah, Callisto was definitely an issue, and it was one of those things where okay, do I play the PC version with these stutters, or do I play the Xbox version that doesn't have that issue but also doesn't have
or you play the
ray
PlayStation 5 version that had the best. But
right. Well, I mean, I only had the 2 codes. Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
It's Catch-22.
What do I have?
Yeah, it is just kind of weird. Because I like PC gaming a lot, but it's just I don't know a lot of times if it's gonna be great.
Right.
Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't matter how good your build is.
Yeah.
It's just no problem with the game, and that gets incredibly frustrating for sure.
Shader compilation, something in there.
Oh, that's when
Close. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But that's where some of these stutters are coming from.
Don't people have
loading the shader for the
I
first
feel like
time.
people, the workarounds for those generally come from people telling you to download. Someone already has generated them, so you download them and keep them locally so that it doesn't have to keep generating them. But that's a huge amount of that takes up a lot of space though. So I think that's what they're doing, because file sizes probably get out of hand.
I think that's affecting the update on The Witcher as well right now.
Oh.
That's one of the issues.
Yeah, no, Huber's not happy about The Witcher right now.
He's playing PS5.
And they had another problem.
Yeah.
From the most recent patch. All right, time for Keep It Up, which is the exact opposite of Sort Out. Something we are digging that we're thinking, yeah, good job. So obviously, I'm just going to say, hey, yo, Nintendo, keep it up with that Prime remaster. Good job. Keep that up. $40 too. Shadow drop that thing. I wish physical was sooner, but still, nice work.
If they hadn't done it that way, it would have leaked. So I think that's fine on that. Then that specific
No.
case.
I don't got a problem with it being first digital. I just wish it wasn't as long of a wait.
Sure.
If it was a week later.
They gotta ship it though.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if I've said this before, but anyone that puts out your soundtracks.
Oh yes.
At launch or before, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Keep doing that.
That helps a lot, actually.
Some of these games like Xenoblade. Sometimes they're 8 months later. And I'm why?
Yeah.
Why is it so I understand they're focused on getting the game done, and then they have to go back and edit and make the soundtrack nice, but sometimes it's just it's just so long.
Speaking of a long time, Kingdom Hearts just came out on everything on Spotify and Apple Music. The Kingdom Hearts stuff. So I've been listening to that, but it's been real nice. But it took a long time.
Yeah, I'll do a keep it up I'll echo that. Square Enix has been very good about expanding its catalog to be listened to on various platforms for whether they're subscription based or even starting their own music channel, which some of their entire albums are just thrown on there for free, so you didn't have to be a subscriber to one of those services.
Yep. Yeah, on YouTube,
they had a lo-fi chill Final Fantasy 14 soundtrack that was like that they released, and it was like a little too pricey for what it was in my opinion, so I didn't like jump on it right away because I saw an advertisement saying it was gonna be on a month later. It was gonna be on their YouTube channel. I'm like, and everyone's like, no, that's not gonna be on there. A month later, it's like the whole thing's on there as a playlist. I'm like,
that's cool,
dude, sick. Like,
nice, Square.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'll try and support when like I feel like it's a good thing, but some of those like Square Enix always puts out these kind of like spin-off albums that are like doing either something experimental, something different, and I'm never quite sure if it's gonna like justify the price. Like maybe there's like 1 or 2 tracks I really just want, and this is like I think it's a good thing. Like
because those things aren't cheap either. When you buy them.
So giving me a chance, like play the whole thing. Like if I really liked it, I went, dang, I will go buy this. But like it wasn't really my cup of tea, so I was like, I'm glad I didn't have to be forced to pay that much money to buy it.
My addendum there too is keep putting that stuff on like Bandcamp or whatever because
you know,
so you can buy it right.
So you can actually buy it and download it. Yeah. I hate when something is just locked to Spotify.
I think Apple is like you can buy it.
Apple when you buy it, you get the MP3s and stuff, and you get that. I thought it was a small sorted out.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah, let's hear it.
I still hate pre-orders for collector's editions.
Oh, well, you got yours.
I did get mine, but like not. Do you know how I had to get it when I did my setup?
What did you do?
So the Walmart's pre-orders for the Tears of the Kingdom's collector's edition went live at 6:30 a.m. Pacific time Saturday morning.
Okay.
Friday morning or Saturday morning. But like I had a feeling that one of the places was going to finally put up at that time. So I, with my bed mount, the thing I use to hold my Switch and my phone, I put my phone on there with Wario 64's notifications, max volume, and put it 1 inch from my face when I went to sleep with my computer still on, logged into Walmart and Amazon because they were the last ones left. Like each on a window, like with everything set to go. And I did a refresher so like it wouldn't auto log me out for being inactive. So it kept refreshing the page.
Wow.
Did you have the Homer Simpson bird hitting F5?
I used the script thing. So like, and it wasn't too fast. I would get flagged, and like they sometimes if you refresh too much, they're like, you're a bot or something. So just the right interval, I think. And 6:30 went off. Just saw Walmart Tears, ran over to the monitor,
secured.
I had Twitter on Wario 64's feed there. Refreshed really quick, got the link, clicked it, bam, hit pre-order. Didn't even look at the information, like if my payment information or shipping address is correct. Just hit place order. Like I can fix that later. Just get the damn order in.
Hell yeah.
And then I got the email notification saying confirmation. I was like, okay,
dude,
good,
excellent.
I respect it, dumbass. Sometimes you gotta work hard for that.
But
dude.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it sucks. It's annoying.
I think that
but
I was trying to like brainstorm ways, but like there's like, all of them like just introduce a lot of problems. Like it'd have to be like you have to like if Nintendo had like a code voucher that like if you've ever played Breath of the Wild, but then like that would gatekeep it, like because you want people who maybe played the original one to like get a chance to play the second one. But what about new people who just want to jump in? That's like kind of not fair. But
I just think that stuff shouldn't run out. That's what it comes like if it's a pre-order for something in May. Just take all the pre-orders.
I would be okay for me. I would be okay if they would take my pre-order now, but they're like what they did with Steam Deck and a lot of other things.
It's not
like,
launch date.
We just can't tell you when you're getting it, but you will get one eventually.
Cool. Yeah, I get
that's
that.
all I care about.
Yeah,
exactly.
I got that. I'm really glad I didn't want it this
So that's
time.
the real sort out is what Bloodworth said.
Yeah.
Stop making them so damn limited. Like take all the pre-orders you can and then just tell people later.
Yeah.
That
Hey,
you're gonna get like you're gonna get them maybe not at launch day.
Yeah. Hey, keep it up. Keep making collector's editions I don't actually want. Thank you.
Make it
I'm
easy.
like I don't need that. I'm okay actually. You know. So thanks.
Tears of the Kingdom one
I
is
can't
not
tell
good
you the last time I
compared.
bought a collector's edition.
It's whatever.
You know,
It's
that's
like
another
a Castlevania DS game.
Yeah.
That's another sorted out.
Sort of. It's not that
Make
good.
a better collector's
a better
edition
one. Yeah.
for this. Breath of
Where's
the
my
Wild.
statue,
Yeah, where's
dude?
that Master Sword?
Yeah, that thing was
corrupted
sick.
Master Sword
That thing was
statue this
sick,
time. Or the Link hand, dude. That'd be sick. If they made a replica
It's
hand.
just like the hand. Oh my god, that would have been awesome, Damiani.
so cool.
That would have been sick.
Speaking of that, I can't verify authenticity, but I remember like coming across somebody had found in like a random shop in like a small town in Africa, like the Dead Island like decapitated bust. Do you remember this thing?
Whoa.
That came with the collector's edition.
Cool.
Which was like a woman's torso with like everything else chopped off.
Whoa. That's so wild. Gaming, dude. Gaming's weird. All right, let's hear from the audience. This is from Colt Smith. Keep it up. Good remakes. Resident Evil 2 and 3, Final Fantasy 7, parentheses, I know it's not really a remake, but still. Dead Space, Demon Souls, all of these remakes are so good and allow a new gen of gamers to dive into some older, tougher to dive in. Wait, what? To dive into some older, tougher to dive into games. Keep it up, good remakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love great remakes.
Yeah.
Another great remake's coming up. Resident Evil 4.
That's right.
Guaranteed to be good.
Brad, I had a nightmare that it might not be good.
You stop this, Damiani.
Like,
I've seen a lot of that game.
Because we're so assured.
Yeah.
Like, I forget what it was. It was something, it's not going to happen. Like, it was something about, like, the game plays so, like, the controls are so different that, like, it plays bad or something.
Oh, man. I've seen a lot of that game.
But then, like, I was like, oh, yeah, RE2 and 3 already exist. They just literally have to, like, copy that control style.
Once they change the knife, I'm like, all right, this is going to be a great game already. Get rid of that knife cheese? Yes.
I think I was projecting my fears of Tears of the Kingdom becoming nuts and bolts onto RE4.
No! Silence, dude. Nuts and bolts didn't have anything going for it except that. That's the problem.
I have no history with the series, and I don't know what the reaction is right now. But I think this System Shock remake is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Of a game that, like, pretty intimidating, obtuse to go back to. And now here's a modernized version.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
That will hopefully be faithful.
Hopefully be faithful. I would have no idea because I never played the first one, but I hope it's good. Let's see. This is from Son of Sparta. Keep it up. The recently released Octopath Traveler 2 demo reminded me just how beautiful HD 2D games are and how well crafted they feel. The demo legitimately convinced me to get the game day one or soon after its release. So keep making these awesome HD 2D games, Square. Keep it up. Well, I don't think they'll stop anytime soon.
Yeah.
They're not stopping.
I mean, you got Dragon Quest 3 coming up.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not gonna be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if they remake like many Dragon Quest games in that. 1, 2, especially 1 and 2.
And I mean, after they milk Pixel Remaster one more time this year, maybe they go back to like one of the the 1 through 6 and do here's your 2D HD version of these now. Yeah.
Dude, why not? I guess. Yeah.
Keep it up.
Keep it up, Square. Keep making that money. All right, and this final one is from Bam541. Keep it up to the Tears of the Kingdom marketing team. Please keep up the secrecy of the game. I feel like with the way the game is marketed, it is set to surprise people all over again like they did before. Don't show too much. Let people experience it firsthand. Let's savor that potential. It's not like people are not going to buy the next big Zelda game anyways.
Yeah.
I think that they will, but I think there's a little room to crack it open. I think right now,
yeah, there's some you can crack that egg
it's
a little
bit. Yeah, people are a little down from that last trailer. I think that they need to really give people something that makes it feel not like just a copy-paste sequel, which I don't think it is.
No.
But
No.
it gives that impression.
Sure. I get that. And you see that delicious steak dungeons. You see little puzzles. You
like
see
to
a little
see
of that.
Even just showing like the UI or interface for your.
Oh my god, we haven't seen any of that.
Just for anything,
For
but
your
also
arm.
like if really is customizing vehicles or something, like maybe showing that off, because that's not going to be a wow moment in the game for me seeing the interface. It's like I would like to know how this works ahead of time to brace myself for.
Brace myself. Oh boy. I hope it's hard to make those things, like to get the puzzles. I hope it's tough.
I hope it's like a big reward.
Because I don't want to be
scouring.
sidelined immediately.
Exactly. I don't want to be scouring Hyrule for like parts and stuff. You know what I think it could be? Possibly. Like it's useful in some situations, but like maybe there's a like Blood Moon or something happens where it's
Destroys
like
it.
They have the defenses where like it's easily detectable and like you like like it's metallic or something. So like they have like anti things. So you need to like have like an organic horse to run through there. So it's a little.
I'm not ditching my horse.
Yeah.
Walter will continue on with me as always. Walter's coming back. All right. We got some shout outs for some of our most generous patrons over on patreon.com/easyallies. This episode, we got Jabbawabs, Elthanas, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, Raymond Wheeler III, and ZeoVGM. Shout out. Thank you so much for supporting the show, and Easy Allies means a great deal to us. And as well as all of our fellow patrons, thank you. Bloodworth, let's talk about Season.
Yeah.
Ooh. I didn't even know this game came out.
Right?
Yeah.
No, it's really cool. It's if you're not familiar with it, it's kind of it's interesting because like a whole big part of the game is just wrapping your head around what the world is. But essentially, your character, her best friend had this weird dream, and then the elder interpreted it as it's like, oh, we're coming up on a change of season, which it sort of in a way feels like kind of like the end of the world, but it's not. It's just like a big shift, like this huge kind of generational shift, and like you find out like some of the past seasons were like, there was like the golden season, which is kind of like would be sort of recognizable to us as like the kind of like the world that we live in, where it's like, okay, there's cars and tourists and concerts and movies and all this kind of stuff, and then this war happened, and that was a new season, and then when the war ended, then that was kind of like the current season where like everybody is just sort of like siloed off and like living in their own like little pockets and villages, and the world's not like connected and stuff anymore. And so, but now it's like, okay, the season is going to end, and you live in this like mountain village where like you and your family, like the whole season, like you've just never left. Like you've just been here. And so now your goal is to go out and document what this season is about for future generations. And so that goes into all of the gameplay. And so you go around on your little bike. And the
Question, can you do a jump on your bike? Can you like go off a ramp? Damn. All right.
But the bike with the PlayStation 5 controller, which I'm playing on PS5, it uses the adaptive triggers really well.
Ooh.
And I love this because...
Is it like when you're pedaling?
Yeah, so when you're starting to pedal or you're going uphill, you get this resistance.
That's cool.
And then when you're like full speed going downhill or whatever, like there's no resistance at all. You
That's
just like
fun.
let it coast. And that's kind of like your cue. It's like, yeah, I don't need to pedal right now. It's cool. And you have basically like you have a camera, you have an audio recorder, and then there's also spots where you can like sit down and just sketch. But like, yeah, so you have this scrapbook, and so as you go to these different areas, they'll like create a new page in your scrapbook, and in that area you look for things to take photos of, you record things, you sketch things, and then they all kind of like get added to this collection, and then you actually choose how to organize the page on your scrapbook.
Okay.
And there's also like little quotes of things. So you can choose to put like a little note next to something or not, or like a conclusion of something that maybe she's learned. And it's interesting because you start off like not knowing what this world's going to be.
Right.
And then you come into this valley where they're literally getting ready to tear down this dam, and this whole valley is going to get flooded.
Oh, geez.
And wiped out. And so it kind of shows you like, okay, now this is your like apocalypse essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
Like this place is just going to be gone, so you want to document it before it's gone. And in the process of documenting this valley, you just learn so much more about like what's going on with society, and what's going on, like what happened with the war, why did, what the like kind of gods that people worship. There's this whole crazy thing going on that I don't get too deep into, but like there is this kind of like spiritual element to memory, to where like you wear this pendant to protect your memories, and before you leave home, like you find like these keepsakes, and you sort of you basically put up these offerings, and your mother sacrifices memories.
Whoa.
Of all the five senses, so like taste, touch, hearing, and smell, all that stuff, and she sacrifices her own memories to make this pendant to protect you, so that you don't
lose that,
so you don't forget. And there's a lot more that goes into that, and like part of the game is kind of discovering all of this stuff and lore and stuff. And it's just really fascinating to go through this, and it's really satisfying to put your your scrapbook together.
Cool.
You know, and what's interesting is like you actually don't need to put a lot of things in to complete a page. So you put down like 4 or 5 things, and it's like your page actually looks kind of empty. But then once you put in enough, then it also unlocks like extra little conclusions or extra
sweet.
drawings that you can put in there to kind of spruce things up
That's
or
cool.
like highlight lines and that kind of thing.
Cool.
And the art style is very kind of animated, and so like you have the kind of these larger than life characters at times, or people with like weird hairstyles or weird skin tones, and and so it's just really cool.
That's cool.
Getting to know all of these people and their stories.
So like going through this world, I guess, majority of your time you spend on your bike, I assume.
You kind of just like use your bike to get from place to place.
Yeah.
And then you spend a lot more time on foot, just kind of investigating.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like this game's kind of like, you're chilling out mostly. You're getting in that headspace and exploring around. Cool. Sounds really interesting. The stories kept you engaged. You want to know what's going on, all that stuff.
Yeah. You definitely start like pulling at these threads, and it's like, okay, there's
like,
a little bit more here than
meets the eye? Right.
than what meets the eye.
Cool.
And then what was also interesting too is that I was expecting to travel the whole world or whatever, and the actual space that you explore is a bit smaller in the sense that like if you just took your bike and rode around, you could see most of the game. That's aside from like a couple of like opening and ending chapters, but you could do that pretty quickly. But it's just so dense and full of detail.
Awesome.
It takes time to like
fully
sniff it all out.
That's cool. Tim O'Keefe wrote in, not necessarily a question, more of a comment about Season, a letter to the future. Hey, allies. Played through Seasons in about 3 sessions. I really liked the vibe of the game, the look of it, and found some of the interactions and moments really beautiful. However, I also found myself getting so sleepy each time I played. Not necessarily negative, but just something I noticed. One little nitpick, I wish I could have kept pedaling the bike for me. For FOU or me. Whatever. I know Huber mentioned on his stream he prefers original music over license. How does the rest of the panel feel? So is there a lot of licensed music in this game?
No. I think that might have been just like a separate question for some reason.
Okay. But the bike pedaling, how do you?
Yeah, I actually like the way, like I was just talking about how the bike pedaling is handled. But the sleepiness is definitely a thing, and without really getting into it, I think it's part of, there is sort of dreams play into the story, and there's sort of a nature to that. So like you hear nature sounds, you kind of have this like calming music and like meditative experience to things. And so, I don't know what they could have done to alleviate that, but I definitely get that sense that like, you could get like the sleepiness of like, okay, I gotta end. So, but I do think it's a game that's probably best to like split up, do a couple of areas at a time, and and then come back to another night. Yeah,
I was gonna say, it doesn't sound like it's like a sleepy because the game's boring or anything like that. It's just the kind of vibe of the game. Yeah. Cool. I mean, it sounds really, really jolly. Maybe. I don't know. It probably gets pretty heavy, actually. Do you know how long it is or anything like that? Do you have any idea?
It's weird because it's like depends about so much about what you put into it, and like they said they did it in like 3 sessions, and it didn't take me that long. I got through it in about a week or so.
Cool.
But I don't know hour count necessarily.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Bloodworth. Oh, wait, do you have a question?
I was saying, yes, that's nice.
Oh, yeah. Bloodworth, we're going to move on to another one from you.
Yeah.
Deliver Us Mars.
Ooh.
That's what it's called, right? Deliver Us Mars?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a sequel to Deliver Us the Moon.
Which, did you play that?
No, I haven't. But they do tie in pretty well.
Okay.
And there's like a little museum at the beginning to where it kind of catches you up on some of the events that happened. So you aren't totally lost. But yeah, I'm liking this janky little game.
What? That gets me more interested in the game. Janky little game is like a selling point to me.
Yeah, because it's it's not a very high budget, but it's like it's basically like grounded science fiction, right? Like kind of like an Interstellar or something like, where it's like a climate apocalypse kind of thing.
Okay.
The Earth is essentially dying. And then I think this is a part of the previous game. I'm not 100% sure like how much is like, how much crosses over. But basically, there was this like group of scientists, like the smartest minds on Earth, that were like building these arc ships or whatever that were going to be able to help humanity out. And they freaking stole them.
Oh.
They took off,
Jeez.
including your character's father.
Dude, your dad ditched you? Dang.
Well, he tried to take you with him, but he was getting chased. So, so it's like there's also that bond because your sister, like in this, also ends up being your commander.
Oh.
So it's like she's
family
like
drama.
Yeah, family drama. And like one of the other people on your crew got stabbed by your dad. Or whatever.
Oh my God.
It's like yeah. So it's like so there's like a lot of people on Earth are like, these guys are fugitives or whatever, and your character is also kind of torn with like, it's my dad, I want to find is my dad alive or whatever out there, and so, and then eventually they get a signal, a transmission, and find out like, oh, the ships are on Mars, and so then they like string together, they try to get the budget together for basically like one last rocket to like for this tiny little crew to go to Mars and try to get the ships back. But what's crazy is I've made it to like chapter 5, just playing like pretty much a full day on Sunday, and it takes a while before you even get to Mars. Like there's so much lead up in things of like backstory from when you were younger, and like flashbacks to like it's almost tutorialized, but like before you like float around in space is like they have you swimming underwater, and like you learn how to maneuver and stuff underwater, and there's also like the Tomb Raider pickaxe rock climbing mechanic,
I remember this in the trailer.
Where, like, you kind of do this shimmying around, and so like you kind of do that like up in the mountains with your dad and your sister in a flashback to learn it. With these like mats underneath. Yeah. And all of that kind of thing. But then it also gets into what's weird is it has this blend of like first person sections and third person sections. And so sometimes like the rock climbing stuff, like you do that in third person and you see your character on screen. But then more interior spaces, like inside the spaceship or outside the spaceship, you do that in first person. You just kind of have like a little bit of the helmet around you. But what's cool is like you get like really like in depth on some of this stuff. So like you go through like this whole launch sequence when you get in the rocket, and like your sister's calling out. And it's like, okay, oxygen, and you flip a switch, check, and like fuel, flip a switch, check, and like grab this thing and like slide this down and pull this panel up, and just like all of these little things. Yeah, but that's when we get to like some of the jank budget stuff, because it's like you're in first person and like you use a cursor to click on these things with the PlayStation controller or whatever, but your character model's hands stay in place the whole time. And in one of the sequences, like I moved the camera just far enough, and I tried to do this later on another section, and it didn't happen. But I moved it to the point to where like I could see down my neck, so stuff like that.
Yeah.
Another thing with the PS5 version, like I think they're gonna patch it, but it's real. It's a real mess right now. So I played through like 4 full chapters of this game on PS5, and then I'm like, wait, do I have this on PC too? And like the PC version ran so much better, but like the PS5, like I was literally like, we're approaching the launch pad, and there's like a button like look, and you look, and like trees are like popping up, like tree.
Whoa.
And it's just like, it just looks like barren ground, and then tree, and then tree, and stuff like that. And then like, and there's this other section where you come across like on Mars, you come across like this big canyon area, and it's so weird because like, you know how we were talking about like shader things causing stutters or whatever, because it was like the game was sort of running at 60, but then when it wasn't running at 60, it was running at like 12. It would just like chop 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 chop, and so and there's just like a lot of roughness like that. And so like now like I switched over to the PC version like after midnight, like decided like, oh, what when I look at the PC version? And it was like running more smoothly at 60, but it still has its issues. Like I would still see some popping in weird places. There's like different hair tech that's like an option on the PC version.
Sure,
so like the hair looks a little bit more natural. But it also does that thing to where like when they change camera angles, it like pops a little bit. And sometimes when it pops, like a strand of hero just would like
Horizon was like that, dude. I remember.
But there's just something about the personal nature of the story and the grounded nature of how the world is, and just like you've also got like this like GoldenEye like welding, like cutting torch kind of thing.
Okay.
And so there's a part where like this stuff hits like one of your thrusters and you have to like fly out and like cut it off.
That's cool.
There's some light laser puzzles in there too for like transmitting power. And there's just like a lot of variety. You have like this little companion floaty robot that can go through vents.
Sweet, love that.
And activate stuff from a distance.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, this game sounds like Cuber Joint for sure, except maybe the laser puzzles. Seems cool.
Yeah. I want to finish it.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, great.
Like I want to. You know, I'm going to basically like catch up on the PC version and skip some cutscenes and
do what you got to do
and finish it there. But yeah, I do want to finish it.
Cool. All right, let's move on to the next game. Damiani, you played this. Theatrhythm Final Bar Line. You played the demo? Is that what you played?
Play the game for preview.
Oh, okay.
Full game.
Full game. Got it.
And I pretty sure I played one of them in the past.
Yeah. It was on DS, I think, or was it 3DS or
I think
DS?
3DS was probably the first
I have one
It
of
was
them.
either on one of the Nintendo handhelds, or if it ever came to like iOS, I played it on like
Sure,
iPhone.
I think it's been on
I'm
iOS.
pretty sure it has.
It's been on other
I think
stuff,
that's
sure.
probably where I played it. But if you're not familiar with it, it's a rhythm game based on the Final Fantasy franchise, first and foremost, where you just basically are walking across like scenic recreations, like kind of like cartoonish recreations of iconic places from the Final Fantasy series, and above your characters while they're like battling or walking across fields are the rhythm game part of it. And it's usually just like, you know, these circles, like red circles, green, that like red are just like tap ones, green's like hold. Sometimes they come in like pairs. So, and how you do it is you can hit any right or left side face button or trigger will activate like a single input. When you need to do like a double input one, you just hit one, anything on the left side of your controller, anything on your right side of your controller at the same time. Obviously, there's like the hold stuff. There's directional ones as well, like up, down, left, right, or cardinals as well. And then like during the field ones, there's like a hold with the green where you gotta like kind of like drag it up and down, like trace the kind of curved path. Which is probably like the most complicated mechanic of the game. And that's like the basic premise of how you play the game. And,
just a rhythm game,
really, I don't know if they're doing anything different with that because it's been so long since I played the last one. So from a gameplay standpoint, for a rhythm game, I mean, it has various difficulties for each song. You have like, I think up to 4. There's like standard. It's literally almost like 14 turns, but not quite. It's like standard, which is normal. There's extreme, which is like the harder difficulty after that. Then there's like ultimate,
savage.
There is no savage. There's something called supreme, which is above ultimate. So I think that they may flip those.
Get some green peppers and mushrooms in there.
And then on top of that, this is nice. They like one accessibility feature is you can change the color scheme of
the buttons.
The buttons to if they're just not showing up as well as make the lines, because there's the bars that they're coming across, you can like make them more profound and show up a little bit more so it's easier to see them. And I think there's an option, I haven't messed with it yet, but I think it reduces how much you see the background, just turns the background off, because it actually can trip up things.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll get to it in a second, but there's stuff that can definitely be distracting. And on top of that, there's 3 different types of input styles. So there's the default one, which has like everything as is. There's like a pairing one, which I think is like either for multiple people or just like I haven't tried it yet because it looked. I was like, I don't want anything more advanced. For me, I'm terrible at rhythm games.
Sure.
So they have a simple input.
Okay.
What it does is it removes directional inputs because I'm shit.
So, okay.
I'm absolutely trash at directional inputs. I can on an analog stick, I can never hit them correctly. And like this one, like they got the diagonals, and I'm like, no, that's too fast. Like, I'm not dealing with that.
Diagonals.
So it removes that completely. And I didn't realize this at first, but the one where you have to trace up and down, you actually don't even have to trace.
Oh.
I was doing it and feeling good, but then when I like didn't do it, I'm like, oh, it's just auto doing it.
Yeah.
But like, so you just have to focus on like the timing of inputs, and that's really it. And I think that's really good for someone like me because it can get
Hectic.
hectic. Standard, nothing too bad whatsoever, but it's like fun trying to like get everything perfect because they have like the same scoring thing. Like the more you want to keep your chain going for a higher score. Also factors in some other gameplay elements, but like there's like misses, which are completely bad, then bad, good, great, critical, and then there's like rainbow critical, which you get like the perfect timing. So it's kind of fun to see how many of those you can do as well. And obviously there's like, so how it works is there's like your main character, you have a party you form of up to 4 players.
Yeah, you can pick who you want, right?
And
who did you use?
Your leader. Well, I started with the 14, so you only pick one series to unlock at the beginning.
Okay, you chose 14.
So I chose 14. So I got
Y'shtola?
So I got 2 versions of Y'shtola were available. Thancred, Ida,
a lot of them,
or at least, but it's Ida. It's her early form, and Alphino was the other one you get. So you get 4, but like 2 versions of Y'shtola can be playable. So you can have up to 4 party members. And who you pick as your leader, that they show their HP bar. So when you're in battle and you're attacking, like as you start failing, getting bads and misses, you like start taking damage, and your HP bar goes down. And if you hit 0 and die, that's a failure. So it's like it's a little bit more like themed after like combat. So yeah, let's talk about like that part of it. So it's not just simply just like hitting the rhythm stuff. You gotta like pick your party members. They start at level 1. They level up to level 99. Each song you complete gives them experience points. And then when you hit level 99, there's like 9 star levels above them. But like it seems like an insane grind.
Prestige.
Like I got to level 99 after playing like through 6 different series of games on 4 characters. But like doing 2 more barely even moved. Like I couldn't even tell I got any experience. I had to like, go into like the details to see my EXP number. I'm like, oh, it is going up, but like, holy crap, is it gonna take forever? As you level up, each character comes in like is a different kind of like class. So like you have defenders, physical, support, summoners. I think there's one other I'm forgetting right now. And then each of them have unique abilities. And as you level up, you unlock skills. So for Cecil, the paladin, he is there to protect people.
Is there Cecil Dark Knight also?
No, it was just paladin in this one. So he gets like protect, shell, like and then you can equip up to 3 skills as you unlock them. You start with none, but eventually you unlock more, and you can mix and match. And you'll see they activate under certain conditions. Some only activate when your chain gets up to a certain amount, so you want to keep your chain going. Some only activate after a certain part of the stage has been completed. Some are just persistent throughout. And so you kind of like got to take a look at those and take those into consideration, because while you can easily complete songs, if you're skilled enough, there are quests on each song level. So there's just reaching completion, which will advance you, or you complete the secondary quest, which has like a collectible. They come in the form of either like a nice like piece of artwork or a scene, like iconic scene, so you can go to your collection, take a look at it.
That's fun.
You can get permanent stat upgrades, like Guard Plus, like HP Plus, Magic Plus, that you could spend to increase your stats, because each character has like I think 6 or 8 different like base stats that keep going up as you level up, and you can speed that process. And then like you get some like other cool stuff as well. And then items, you get items as well that you can use before battle. Like you can use a EXP bonus, so you can get more experience from that. You can activate a Phoenix Down. So if you know it's a level, like you're getting really close to the end and like you just need that extra push, you use the Phoenix Down. So you know when you get there, everyone will be raised, and you could like try and finish it out right there.
Yeah.
And so when you pick a series, you unlock. So I started with 14.
Okay.
It looks like a linear corridor you're going down, and it looks like a typical like map where you're in an environment. environment, and then there's like a little.
What was the environment?
So start off like in like kind of like green like grass area, and then you start with the first song, and it'll show you like an enemy on there, and it'll like tell you like and it'll show you all the enemy information, like who will be the boss character of this.
Was it a 14 specific enemy?
So for the first one, it was I forget, but there are. Okay. So for fun thing for 14, it goes through the game story and then some of the experience. It went up to the end of Shadowbringers. Whoa, actually, but it starts like there's only like 3 songs from Shadowbringers, so like it actually had the most songs of any. I was like, wait a second, this is gonna have a lot. So you go through like a Realm of Born. So you do like Torn from the Heavens, like basic battle thing. You do like some of the classic stuff, and then you do like Ifrit. And then you do Titan, and then you do like Garuda. And at some points we get to, you could pick left like one or the other just to advance. You can always go back and do the other one, but when you reach the end, you get a title complete. Sorry, not when you reach the end. When you reach a certain point, you get a chest that gives you a key that will let you unlock another series. So you can either back out at that point and go to another series, or if you're just like, I'm kind of tired of this, I want to try something else. So they don't make you finish the whole thing, which is kind of nice. But they do a good job on the theming. So all the boss fight stuff, like Ifrit, they literally like took the environment from 14 and like put it in the game. Cool. So that's what like did was? Like it's like kind of chibi style, like art, like cartoonish version of it. That's so it's cool. Like by the side, but it looked pretty good. I mean, they went all the way to in Shadowbringers, they did like the 012, the Omega series raid. They did like the arena from like the final fight of that. That's I was fun. Like in the song for that. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But there were some good ones in there. They did the theme from I forget the name of it, but from the Twinning.
Do they have the big fat tacos?
Oh yeah, they have Ultima in there.
I love the Twinning song, dude. Yeah,
the one that they did the meme dance to. Yeah, of course. They have that in there, and it's like I was like, they knew what they were doing with this. Course. So like. Some of so there's 2 types. There's field, there's FMS and BMS. Field music stage is where you're walking across,
and battle music
that's
stage?
The only one where you get the trace green line thing. Okay. Otherwise, it doesn't appear in that. And then the battle ones is you're stationary. You're not walking along.
Yeah, you're in a fight.
Yeah. And so you only see the enemies that you're able to beat. So like, for example, one of the boss fights was Golbez, and I went to the Final Fantasy IV series, and you had to fight the 4 fiends in that stage to get to him. I didn't even get through them by the end of the songs. I didn't even see Golbez because I was so low level of my Final Fantasy IV characters.
That's funny.
And again, you'll see attributes for the stage you're doing, like what's a weakness. So these enemies will be weak to like lightning attacks, or these will be weak to water or ice attacks. So if you bring a character who has a spell that can do something like that, you might be able to like accomplish that a little bit better. You also can equip a summon as well. Oh, wow. And you earn them as you progress through each of the series, and they're kind of random drops. So you can get multiple of a certain type. So like for like Ramuh, I got like 3 of them, but like the last one I got had 3 bonus attributes. So like sometimes they only come with 1, which is like increase attack by 5%. He had like, and they're like, I think in bronze, silver, gold, something like that, some kind of like classification system. And when you get like the one I got, it had like bonuses to a bunch of stuff. It was like really cool. And then you like Rydia. Her specialty, she's a summoner. She's more likely to summon them, so you can bring them out more often. But like you'll see, it's kind of hard to focus on what's going on in the battle. So like you're not having to select actions or anything like that. The characters just like meet conditions and then they do their attacks. But that's what I was saying where it got distracting. So like a summon comes out, it says like Leviathan comes out, this is big loop-de-loop, and it shoots a beam across where all your stuff is. And I'm like, I can't see crap right now. I'm like, I hope I'm hitting this stuff correctly. But yeah, I mean, it looks cool, but there is a practice and an auto mode if you just want to see the stage without any concerns. Yeah. And practice lets you skip to any part of the song stage on any difficulty. So if you're struggling with a certain part, you can just skip to it. That's nice. And try practicing that to see if you can do that.
Which series did you do?
Okay, so I started with 14. Then I did Final Fantasy 1 because it was pretty short. Then I jumped to Final Fantasy 4. Did all of Final Fantasy 4, and then I noticed there was a Theatrhythm series that only unlocked if you completed a certain amount of series. So I started seeing which had the shortest amount. So I went to the very end because it goes all the way up to 15.
Okay.
And then it starts jumping into other like spin-off series. Like it has Record Keeper. It has Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo's Dungeon. I did that one actually, and it had like 5 songs. There was the other mobile one, Mobius.
Brave
Mobius,
Exodus?
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was in there. And then they also had Type 0. I did Type 0.
Oh, cool.
I did Type 0. They have
Don't they have like Octopath in this game or
so
something?
there's another one. I thought it was in the Theatrhythm, but there is another series one that you can watch. So there's Final Fantasy series. Some of these have series. So like there's a Final Fantasy 7 series one, and that's where Crisis Core stuff is in there. Because there's Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, and then there's Final Fantasy 7 series. Like it's kind of interesting how they do it for that. And then they give you like a difficulty of the quest. So like those secondary, some of them are really easy. Like get a high enough score. But some of them are like defeat the actual boss. And like as I said, some of them I don't even see. And like I was getting high level. I'm like I'm not even seeing this boss. So it's definitely meant to be played over and over again,
totally.
so that you are grinding out the levels and then getting the spells you need so that you're more efficient.
There are non-Final Fantasy games in here too, right?
That's what Brad was saying. Like he said, Octopath. There's apparently Nier in there as well.
Right, yeah.
Live Alive apparently
that's
is in
sick.
here somewhere. I
cool.
believe.
That's really cool. I'm glad
they listed them all, and like
That's rad.
I haven't gotten to try any of those,
got
but
it.
I'm like I'm trying to figure out how to do it. But like there's like what they say, there's over 385 songs or something. Yeah, we're getting like Smash Ultimate here. This
Yeah.
is like the so basically, Brad and Blood. If you like Final Fantasy music, and it's not, it's a fun way to like re-listen to like maybe a minute and a half to 2 minutes of these songs. It doesn't like it's not those like long loops. It's like the first loop, you're done, and like a little bit of like interactivity, and like there's kind of like a cool theming going on with the visuals. It's like kind of like a nice whole package.
Yeah.
I'll say like maybe I'm playing on the Switch. Like maybe the audio quality, like I don't know if it's like a volume thing. Like it's not, I don't know if it's like as crisp or as like loud. I don't density. I guess is like I kept saying like it sounds like soft compared to like when I listen to it like the 14 stuff. I'm like I hear it in 14. I'm like it sounds a little bit like more like oomph. In 14
yeah.
and it says here. So I don't know if
Maybe
they're
it's a
like
bit compressed.
pressing.
To get on that Switch cart.
Most important question though. There's Final Fantasy 11, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's Final Fantasy 11 in there. Every Final Fantasy they have 10. I believe they have 10-2 in there as well, but not. And I don't think they have 13-2 or Lightning Returns.
Oh, okay.
Maybe there's a 13 series I missed. Didn't do Final Fantasy 10 yet. That's the one I want to do.
You're saving that one
next because
yeah.
I unlocked the Theatrhythm, but like it's songs from the older Theatrhythm games that are like unique to it. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So like they're including all the legacy songs as well. And then again, like the kind of like the Collectopedia thing that you have. Some of them are like movies. For example, the opening movie, a condensed version of the opening movie to Final Fantasy 14 is available there. You unlock it's answers. It's the original trailer.
Cool.
They cut around a little bit, so it's not the full thing. But like, it looked amazing. I was like, I almost want.
Cool.
I was
That's
like,
the
I want
closest
to take a
you'll get
picture
to
and be like,
14 on
yo,
Switch.
14's on Switch now. What's this? But like they do it for the other ones as well. I got like Final Fantasy 4 is like in game, like it was like the in-game visuals, but then they had the DSCG like thing as well. So it's kind of nice to have like all that in one place. There's a jukebox thing, so you can just like listen to music as you unlock it. So this was like kind of like there's 3 modes. There's like the quest mode, and then there's like just like play any individual song. I'm actually forgetting what the last thing was. I didn't really mess with it.
Like a marathon mode or something like that.
And then there was like you have like a profile card you can share with other people. Just shows like your stats and you can exchange that.
Bragging rights. Yeah.
And as you're playing everything, you're accruing this like Musica score. And as it hits certain thresholds, you unlock extra bonuses, like pieces of artwork, and that's how you get like these movies and artwork and stuff like that. And then completing some quests also give you those bonuses as well. Yeah, it's a pretty simple game. I mean, you can make it as hard as you want. Like obviously, crank up the difficulty and do like the more advanced inputs. It seems pretty intimidating to someone like me. But if you're like me, who just kind of wants to hit some things and like hear some pretty noises and some nice colors and like listen to some good music, it's
sure.
pretty
There's something for you,
satisfactory that way. Yeah.
Cool. So quickly, I just want to talk about Game Boy and Game Boy Advanced thoughts because we got 2 questions related to
Sure.
it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So we'll just go through the questions for it.
Yeah. If you missed it, we did talk about it on the
we went
last
more in depth
Easy
on
Allies
that.
podcast. Yeah.
So if you want our thoughts there, but these couple questions related to it. This one is from Reptile Scorpio. Howdy, Allies. It's awesome that so many classic GBA titles are already announced to be hitting the Switch. I'm hopeful we'll get some underrated gems pop up as well, with the Astro Boy game by Treasure being my number 1 hope.
Nice.
What titles from this era of handheld games would you love to see pop up on the Switch?
It's original Game Boy, and I know there's fan translations and stuff out there, but the Frog the Bell Tolls or whatever, that it was only in Japan. Like it'd be really cool to see
Yeah,
an
that's
official
a good call.
translation of that.
Great call, bud.
Yeah.
It's kind of a precursor to Link's Awakening.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Especially did like an official English translation finally for it. That would be sick.
That would be sick.
Yeah, because Nintendo's never going to use the match.
Yeah. Dude,
That's a good one.
I would love to get some Game Boy Advanced anime games. They have like the Legacy of Goku games. They probably got some Shonen Jump games that I would love to check out.
Man, yeah,
like One Piece and stuff. Probably some Naruto game on there.
Dude, yeah, we need to get a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything that like maybe didn't like come out here as well. That would be like a really good get. And nothing's coming to mind. I mean, they only showed 1 Golden Sun game.
Right.
They better be
Just
that.
one.
They better get both Golden Sun
Yeah.
games.
I didn't
on
even
there,
know there
please.
was 2 on Game Boy Advance.
There's 3, so it's like let's get 2.
Well,
Well, it's 3
we-
total games, but
Well, when you talk about Tactics Ogre, we learned that the GBA game was a different game.
Yeah.
So it'd be great to get that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I would love that too, Blood.
Yeah.
Or like the Final Fantasy Tactics Advance game on GBA. Was it? Yeah, I think it's just Advance.
There's Final Fantasy Tactics Advance and A2.
And A2
but the
is
A2 is
the-
DS. Though.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, that would be a really good one. And then we said it on the podcast, but the Final Fantasy Advance games as well.
Yes.
Yes, 4, 5, and
Damiani,
6.
Yes, my friend. Yes. You know what? Get those Tony Hawk games on there. The
Yeah.
Tony Hawk
yeah.
Game Boy Advance game was cool. It was really fun.
Yeah, when are we getting Mario Golf added to that?
Great question, Damiani.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
Game
was
Boy.
it- was it-
Game Boy Color.
Game Boy Color is the one.
Yeah. Where is it?
Where is it?
Nintendo's gonna be scared because when they release it, more people are gonna know how great it was and how not good the reason was.
Next question is from My Yuri P. Hey, Allies. It's great to see that you can play GBA classics on current hardware. However, there are already so many emulators out there that allow you to play the GBA titles on PC with added mods that make them so much better to play. I know Nintendo added some features like save states when they bring the NES/NES games, but do you think they will add anything new for Game Boy games? Copyright issues aside, some of the mods on emulators are good that I find it hard to play the vanilla GBA anymore. I don't know. I think the whole point of them is just you can play these legally.
Yeah, the official releases. Yeah, I understand the benefit of having the emulation and have that stuff preserved, and a lot is actually learned that way, and
Yes.
a lot happens. But it to me it's like it's not a solution. Like people are doing that because they have to do it, and so But it's unfortunately at the same time it's like in terms of new features we probably won't see new features. If there's any emulation issues, like with stuff we saw on the N64, they might
Clean it up,
patch
maybe.
things up, clean it
Yeah,
up.
that's like the most I think you can hope for.
I don't have my phone on, so I can't look up. But I did see a tweet in the last few days of like the emulation community talking about how there's like a thing that tests like certain things for every emulator for how authentic the game is, close to like OG hardware. And they were saying that they were actually pretty impressed with this
Oh,
as
that's
well.
great.
Like that it was getting things. And someone did a whole long Twitter thread about the color, how
Oh,
the
the Game Boy
colors look,
color, yeah.
how it looks correct, like how emulators get it wrong unless you apply like a special filter or something like
Yeah, 'cause some of
just
the-
natively just
the
does it right.
handhelds, they're basically hardware emulators that you can stick cartridges into. They're saying that the colors on those weren't as accurate.
Yeah, so it's like if they keeps holding up, it's like the closest to like the original way like playing on OG hardware, which I think is very important. Obviously, with mods and stuff, like you can make things improved and make it more accessible. But there should always be a way to play it as close to possible as it was on the original hardware.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some emails. If you would like to send an email, head on over to patreon.com/easyallies, join our $5 and up tier, and you can send in questions for our emails or sort it out and keep it up, all that good stuff, as well as stuff for the Easy Allies podcast. And you can join our Discord by being a $5 and up patron. Hop on over there. Lots of good stuff. All right, let's get into it. This is from Brandon K. Gain. Hello, everyone. Just this past weekend, I finally got around to trying a game that I've been putting off for almost 5 years. Octopath Traveler. Despite me absolutely loving the HD 2D aesthetic, I've been intimidated by the size of the game and suffered some paralysis by analysis and indecision on who to play as first. Well, after finally jumping in and hitting the 3-hour time limit on the demo, I am excited to continue. So this leads me to ask you, have you ever put off trying a game for any reason for an extended length of time, only to find out once you finally dove in, you really enjoyed it? Thanks for taking the submission. If you do, and stay easy, fellow allies.
Hollow Knight. I waited for it to come to Switch.
Me too. I did.
But I mean, everyone who was playing it was saying, it was questioning like,
Gotcha.
why is everyone waiting when we're telling you it's as good? Like,
I just wanted to play my
you can play it now, and it's like, I don't know. I guess I was waiting. Like in my mind, like Switch was gonna be a little bit like more like a larger group of people are gonna play it. So larger
like a second
group of like a sort of consensus on the game. And when it came to Switch and everyone was like again praising it, I'm like, all right, time to like jump in.
Anything for you, Blood?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this kind of thing happens to me all the time, but
Sure.
And then everybody knows what I've been playing. But yeah, like last year, I played Arkham Knight finally. I played Asura's Wrath finally. I played Cuphead finally. Yeah, all really good times.
Yeah.
I think the year before that was Paper Mario or Origami King. I played through that.
Oh yeah,
that was a really cool game. One of these days, I'm sure Thousand Year Door will be on that list because I've started that game but never gotten that far into it.
It'll be on Switch by the time a remaster.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
I put off playing Chrono Cross for like a decade or more. But then I finally played it, and I thought it was really cool. Like, I really liked it.
I still haven't played that game. I've listened. I don't
know if you would like it.
I've listened to the entire soundtrack multiple times, but like, yeah.
Maybe the newer version make it easier. But
I've just everything I heard about it was like, it's not. I don't know if I want to play this.
Yeah. It's very different.
Yeah,
it's very different.
Yeah. Only quick one, Brad, because I think it was you kind of hounding me all the time to get me to finally play Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
You were always like, Damiani, why aren't you playing this game?
Yeah, dude.
Now you played it, and you're like, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Shovel Knight's awesome. All right, this question is from James Anderson. Hey, allies. I've really been enjoying some of Microsoft's games the past couple years, like Psychonauts 2, As Dusk Falls, and of course the recently Hi-Fi Rush. Games I haven't played, like Grounded or Sea of Thieves, also seem to have generally positive buzz. Even as different as these games are in their relationship, Microsoft it feels like the Xbox first party is finally starting to develop a vibe that breaks free of the Halo, Gears, and Forza stereotype, while still being different from Sony and Nintendo. Good job. I dig that. However, it feels like this is also stuck being completely and utterly overshadowed by all of Halo Infinite's problems and the uncertainty around Starfield and Redfall. And of course, the looming Activision Blizzard merger. The question is, do you think Xbox is already doing enough to truly change their dude bro shooter reputation, or can you think of what more they can do to get these games to impact their overall image? I feel like they're doing more than they have been in a long time to get outside that dude bro image. I guess they're known for the 360 area of like Halo, Forza, Gears kind of thing. Like Hi-Fi Rush is like, very different. We're finally starting to see a lot of their games come out, finally. Like Pentiment, big time, was way different. Grounded, super different. I feel like they're big IPs though, or a lot of people think about are those games like Halo,
Right.
Forza, Gears of War, which we learned that they're working on Gears 6 now. So it's like that's still coming, and I think they're doing more just because they have way more teams now.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's it is largely a result of getting Bethesda and Obsidian in there and the games that they have been cranking out, and then hopefully we will see stuff like Fable and Hellblade soon. Hopefully,
Yeah.
Whatever the crap Everwild is.
Oh, blood! We're gonna be waiting a while
Yeah.
for that still.
But it definitely definitely helps that they have Tango now, and so like
Yes.
something like Hi-Fi Rush just did not feel like Xbox had whatsoever.
Nope.
And
Feels
so I hope
completely unique.
that their audience responds to that because
too.
as we see, like a lot of games just don't come to Xbox because those companies just think they're not going to sell.
Many Japanese games,
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah. Because I don't think it has the install base in Japan, but
It doesn't, but
It doesn't, but then
yeah.
looking at a global market, it's
Yeah,
like
totally.
maybe reconsider.
Yeah, you'd think that they would at least be worth the port, and a lot of times they,
lot of times
they're
they don't
on everything
bother,
else
yeah.
but the Xbox.
Yeah. To be fair, to give some Xbox some credit, even though these games eventually appeared on some other platforms, at first they had these types of games were kind of nice to see on there, like a Cuphead.
Yeah.
Show up on there, and then like Ori
Yep.
as well.
Definitely.
Like seeing
Absolutely,
But I think
man.
some people are like, those are smaller scale games.
Those aren't first party games either.
Yeah, and they're not first party. So they're looking at where like their biggest studios, like Hi-Fi Rush, I think is like the first like in a while like concrete example of like it's not like this is not what you expect from Tango at all.
Yeah. It's like I think Pentiment's a good example of that too.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush definitely had much more of impact when it came out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, talking that though, I think that, of the three, Xbox is doing the best job of courting indies and promoting indies. It's like,
Sure.
we've recently got on an Xbox list where we're like, they're sending me like a dozen indie games a week, and like a lot of them I've never heard of and, probably won't get a chance to check out. But by doing that and being supportive of that, they are finding, those things like a Cuphead, that, they can put their muscle behind and say, hey, this is worth everybody giving a look.
Yeah, it's weird, the indie space, because everyone's competing to grab indies for their platform. Like we saw Sony get Sifu and Stray, which aren't. I think Sifu's finally coming to Xbox, but Stray, as far as I know, isn't yet. But it is interesting to see these studios latch on to indie games individually.
Yeah, Sony has been this weird roller coaster ride
Sure has.
with indies.
Sure has,
Like
yes.
super on top of it,
Yep.
and then drops it entirely, and then starts to build it back up again.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of people at Annapurna used to be at Sony Santa Monica
okay,
when
sure.
they were doing the indie stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they had Unfinished Swan, was that there? Or Edith Finch, was that Santa Monica?
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember.
they supported those, yeah.
Yeah. Wild. All right, this is from D's Butts. Hey, allies. I just finished up watching your GOTY deliberations, and it left me thinking, would Vampire Survivors have seen the same level of acclaim if it was playable on phones first? Would hardcore gamers have given the game a fair shake if it was seen as port of a mobile game? I think that's actually an interesting question. Because I don't think, if it was mobile only at the beginning, I don't think it would have gotten the buzz. Maybe it would have gotten some buzz, but not like the buzz where people were playing it on streams and stuff like that.
Maybe. The thing is, because I feel like that game went through different circles when it came out to each platform. Because
Well, the PC circle.
the PC circle, like apparently a bunch of people were talking about that game when it came out on PC way earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And I never even
I heard people talking about it
yeah,
very
I'm sure
early.
you did, but for whatever reason, like I just didn't even
Yeah.
I didn't
Because
catch
it was
wind of that
it was
buzz.
early access and it was still kind of small.
And then when it came out on Xbox, then it got like this second wave of buzz, and everybody
Yeah.
was talking about it again. And
Yeah.
it was just, and so I kind of feel like that potentially could have still happened with mobile, towards like when it came out on mobile, people would have been talking about it like they talked about with Marvel Snap, and then when it started hitting other platforms, each time it hit a new platform, it would hit a
I
different
think-
wave of people.
I think it just depends, Blood, if it was. I have no idea if it's like good on mobile playing that game.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like Marvel Snap works well on mobile because it's designed for that. But it's like, I don't know if Vampire Survivors is.
The only knowledge I have is Gabby was playing it
on phone.
on iPad,
Oh,
I
iPad?
believe. So
Okay.
like the bigger screen definitely helped.
for
It
sure.
seemed like
Yeah.
phone didn't seem like kind of out of the question for that small of a screen because how zoomed out already it is. It seems like, and even if you pushed in, like it'd be so hard to see the waves of enemies that doesn't seem like the optimal platform for it.
I think just a lot of like the streamer people catching on to it pretty early wouldn't have happened if it was on mobile only.
It's so hard though because I feel like so many of these games, like like Among Us, right?
Yeah.
That game is out forever.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, the
One
right
streamer played it.
people, the right circle found it,
Soda popping.
and then it blew up.
Yep.
Yep. That's true. All right. This is from Jason Wojnar. I am happy for Metroid Prime Remastered because I played it about a decade ago on GameCube, but my friend's copy was scratched and froze at certain
no.
part. Now I can finally beat it. Any games you were never able to finish because your copy was defective?
Well,
I don't know about finish.
Oh,
Finish.
we just had a nice community showcase submission about this.
Oh?
Yeah, we had a patron who submitted about their. They have a podcast they do with their brother, and they talked about Xenogears. How this too was so like it was. I guess it wasn't even scratched; it just wouldn't load past a cutscene, and they were trying to like email or write into Square Enix letters, like actual letters to Square Enix saying, can you please replace this or do something about it? And they never got a reply. And eventually they just sent the disc into them with a letter. And a few months later, they got like a brand new copy sent to them.
Wow, that's so cool.
So they have a fully working version with 2 discs, and then they have a jewel case with just disc 1 and a missing disc 2.
that's great.
awesome.
Yeah, so it was pretty good to hear that story.
Anything for you, Blood?
Yeah, no, and I've told the story before, and I think I even have a clip of it somewhere. But Final Fantasy V, this story, if you remember it, you know where I'm going. So basically,
I do.
yeah, I had, the first time it came out was on the PlayStation version, and I had bought that day one or whatever. And then I never got around to playing through Final Fantasy V. And then eventually, after I got a PS3, I was in this like phase of like trying to catch up on Final Fantasy games. And so I brought Final Fantasy V and my PS3 home with me over Christmas. And I was like, cool, I'm going to finally play through this game. And I get into it, and there's this rare bug with it that, because of what it was, nobody bothered to patch out. But when you played that disc on a PS3, it had like a 60 to 70% chance of crashing the game when you went to save. And so I'm like, well, I'm here for 2 weeks. I'm not going to be able to dig out a PlayStation or anything. I still want to play this game. So here's what I'll do. I'll just grind like crazy. I'll just be over leveled through this game and just power through it just to, see it and see the story or whatever. And that was working for me for a good while. And then I got 30, 40 something hours in. And I was just leaving the PlayStation on without saving.
Yeah.
Just leaving the PlayStation
this
3
makes me
on
very
for
nervous.
like a week. And I get to, I think its name was Atmos or whatever, this boss, that it didn't just kill your party members. It like sucked them into a black hole.
Yep.
So that you can't revive them with a Phoenix down.
Oh,
Yep.
no.
And I didn't know what to do with that on my first run. And that was it.
Yeah.
That was the end of the game.
Where'd he go? Yep.
Lord, that's very intense.
That was hardcore
That's
mode.
that's a hardcore challenge run.
The
Damn,
XCOM
Blood.
Iron Man. Whatever.
Yeah, that hurts. I got one, but luckily I beat this game before this happened to me. So the game was Zack and Wiki, okay?
Oh, yeah. I
Wii
never
game.
did finish Zack and Wiki. I got stuck on
Beat Zack.
something.
Yeah, Zack and Wiki's hard. Beat Zack and Wiki, cool. One day, someone spilt. The game case was open, by the way. Someone spilt soda all over it, dude. Just all over it. The disc, the case, man. It's just dead. I was like, no. And it turns out that's like some super rare game now. And I'm just like,
yeah.
oh no, dude, my Zach. At least I got to beat it, but still,
Yikes.
it hurts.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Jeff, there's your investment plan, everybody. If there's some weird little game that they don't make a lot of copies of,
Be careful
buy a
with
second
it.
copy.
Yeah, be careful about it.
And then sell it.
This like
in
happened
20 years.
pretty recently after it came out. I had no idea,
Yeah.
that it'd become this.
Yeah,
Rare game.
Yeah, so many of those games were like, these were like the $5, $15 bargain bin games at one point.
Yeah.
That.
And then all of a sudden they go up in price.
It's like, why that, not Red Steel? It's like,
Probably didn't make a lot of copies of Zack and Wiki. It was a Capcom game, dude. All right, this final question is from the champ. When creating a character in a game, do you create someone who looks like you, or do you create a fictional character, or are you someone that just creates some kind of abomination? I usually never create characters / avatars that look like me. I just can't put myself in games like that because I know it's not me. I don't even use my name. I usually just create characters that fits the world. Or in games like Mass Effect, I just use the defaults since they are voiced and they are the characters they develop and developers intended. I kind of do all of it. I do myself in some games, but in some games I make like weirdos big time. Like you guys saw our BDO stream, our character creator stream. That big boy.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think my hand is kind of guided by the character creator itself.
Sure.
I think in some cases, like you're saying, like in some cases I will make a character that looks like me and I'll use my name because I can't think of anything else or whatever. And then others, like I get into the character creator and I, start messing around with it and it's like, yeah, I kind of like the way this guy looks or this woman looks or whatever. And and then sort of based on how they look, I come up with a weird name. And
Yeah, I'm not the kind of person either like spend 2 hours in a character creator either. It's like, let's get this moving on.
Yeah.
But sometimes if there's
nose
nothing,
bridges and stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes if there's nothing that like strikes me that would be like me, I just like make whatever.
Yeah. It depends on the mood and like how the character creator, how comprehensive it is. Like with Elden Ring, my first character is named Chris because one of the most
Chris Redfield?
also the most generic
Sick.
name possible.
It's just Chris.
And I went to the aesthetics like, all right, just make it like as generic as possible because it's funny. Because I'm gonna be in armor the whole time. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
see
true.
my dumb
You ain't gonna
character,
really
so I
see
don't
your
even
character.
care
That's
about
true.
this.
You're gonna put a helmet on in like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't.
my character's always got that dumb stone helmet thing.
Yeah,
on
you're
it.
the prison person, right? The prisoner.
I started with that, but then now I've got like the gargoyle ones.
Oh right, yeah.
I don't generally do like try and make it look as weird or abomination style, but like I definitely use the randomizer sometimes. Like if I'm just looking over it and it's like I really just want to play a game and I want to look kind of like cool, I'll keep hitting randomize till something like catches my fancy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, cool, you're it. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that's it, everybody. That's it for Frame Trap. Another episode in the bag, baby. Feels good. Any final thoughts, dudes? Anything on the top of your mind?
Good week of games.
That's right.
So many games.
Yeah.
So many damn
We're gonna
games.
record more stuff about more games that we can't talk
That's
about
right.
in this episode right
Yes, and yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff coming up, and I'm tired already thinking about it. But yeah, that's it, everybody. Thank you for watching once again. Check us out on Patreon.com. If you want to support us, it would mean the world to us. And be excellent to each other out there. And we will see you next time.